getting darker and darker, and there's just no way right now for these drivers to know exactly what's going to happen.
These guys are going to have to be really, really careful and tiptoe around the track until it's either stopped.
And not even 10 minutes into this race, and I feel like we've got enough strategy going on for a whole event, but still a long, long way to go.
There's Yellowstone, there's Yosemite, but for racing fans and for Grid Life's Elkhart Classic, the destination is Road America, the National Park of Speed.
3 wide in the front of the field here. Look at Emil Tab up the inside for the race lead. We head down to the first corner.
And these guys have no idea what they're coming into. Look at this field. They're 2 wide, 3 wide, a couple places slipping.
Side by side for the race lead. 54, 48 through 3 and 4. Working lap number 60, 110 laps to go. Yusuf Ghali, power move to the bottom of the racetrack, making the short way work. They're going to touch down the hill. This will be a great run for Fuller here.
Yeah, typically we'll ran off the track in the final quarter. That'll have Fuller get a massive.
Here he comes.
Does he have a look?
Oh, big block here by Sanfilippo. Into the grass goes Ben Fuller for turn 1, and Sanfilippo hangs on. He's loose. No! And he crashes hard in the exit of turn number 2. Don't try here, boys. They're going to do it. Gritsko backs out. They touch. They're going to crash. Gritsko going to slam the attenuator hard into the wall. And Jared Tesson hits him as well. And big damage on these cars. That's a huge.
Number 4, people are struggling for grip, going out of every single lane, even trying to then run. It's getting really insane.
Powered by AWS for the Intercontinental GT Challenge, powered by Pirelli at the Indianapolis 8-hour. We are 7 hours and 18 minutes into this 8-hour event.
John Miller way deep on the brakes to the inside of turn number 1 and 2. The spin, the 3 car gets turned around in the front of the car.
James Houghton looking for a place to go, but he's got Austin Cobb to the inside. Bit of a gap behind. I think that's about 15th or 16th spot as they come out of turn 3. Big slide for this.
Getting a run. He's got it. Going to be a drag racing line. Final corner. Checkered flag waving. Here they come. At Virginia National Raceway. To the line. Thompson, Darling, door-to-door, banging doors, fender to fender. I can't believe what we just saw.
Tonight is the end of an era for one of the longest running series on Sim TV. This is the 3WideRacing League Cold Hard Art Cup Series from Homestead, Miami. And while Homestead is usually the end of a NASCAR season, tonight it means even more than that. It's the final race for one of the longest running leagues on this network. Thanks so much for joining us tonight for a very special running of the 3WideRacing League Cold Hard Art Cup Series, a season finale, and the end of what is one of the greatest reigns on Sim TV that we've seen in a long, long time. There's only 2 leagues that outlast this one, Fuel, which in its original format was considered ISDC, and Scars, the Sim Championship Racing Series, are the only 2 leagues that have a longer stay on Sim TV than 3Wide. But tonight is the final round, at least for the foreseeable future, that 3Wide will be on this network. Thanks for joining myself, Kyle Heyer, and Connor Horn tonight for the season finale here, the 1987 stock cars from one of the fastest racetracks in the South. This is Homestead Miami Speedway, 1.5 miles of banking and oval racetrack ready to go racing for one final time, 133 laps around Homestead to declare a champion. Welcome for all of our competitors and viewers tonight. Connor, welcome as well. About ready to get down and racing at a very foggy Homestead Miami Speedway.
Yeah, visibility's low. Kind of didn't expect that when I loaded into the session, but definitely odd to see that. The lights are on, so drivers can see just fine. Definitely a bittersweet race, finale of pretty much everything, like you said, for the foreseeable future. So bit of a bittersweet ending to this season, without a doubt. But above all that, we still got a championship to decide here. We got 4 drivers within 6 points of each other. Jeffrey Fisher leads after, I believe, his victory at Phoenix. And then he's got Matt Grunberg, Drew Eisenman, and James Miller right behind him. So it's going to be a dogfight to the finish at a track that, in a way, it's a debut of a new track. Homestead's got a bit of an update lately, so the racing is going to be different than normal, in my opinion.
Now, a little bit different. We've, of course, got one of the larger changes to the physics side of the simulator, where the cars that are up near the wall will experience a bit of aerodynamic forces on the car that'll keep them off of the fence. This racetrack has also gotten paved on the below the apron on the front and the back straightaway. It's also gotten some graphical refreshes, including, I believe, safer barrier. Is that new, or has that been around, Connor? The safer barrier here that's going to shorten the racetrack up just a little bit.
I think it's been there. I think it's been there. One thing that's different, look at that, no grass down the back straightaway, so you might actually be able to save it if you do spin down there. Well, you do have that air bubble next to the wall. You might be able to run up there a little bit. It's really, I don't think it's going to be the faster line. I don't really know what the faster line is going to be, because usually you want it to be on that middle, that first seam on the bottom in the middle, but that seam's pretty much gone. You might want to be next to that white line. Maybe the top line will be faster. It's going to be interesting. We're going to be dissecting what line does what tonight for sure.
And coming into the final round of this season, of course, we have to tell you about the points picture. And coming into the evening, it's Jeffrey Fisher after his win last week at Phoenix by 3 points over Matt Gruenberg, then 1 more point back as Eisenman. 2 points behind that is, of course, 7-time race winner this season, James Miller. And I think it would be a travesty if James Miller didn't win this championship just based off of the amount of wins he's had this season, Connor. But that is not a given. And based on qualifying, it doesn't look like he's even going to start on the front row. He's going to start third behind Race Clark, who many should argue would have been the champion this season. He was running well at Phoenix before his internet dropped out from the race lead, and he is pretty much out of the championship picture unless something drastic happens at the front. So my money is going to be on Miller or Gruenberg or the driver at the top of the standings. Of course, that being Jeffrey Fisher after his win at Phoenix. He's riding a lot of momentum. He could be the winner here tonight. 133 laps from start to finish, Connor. This is not going to be an extraordinarily short race. There's going to be some strategy involved and lines all over the place, I would imagine. Homestead, you can typically run from the line to the fence. We'll see if that is in fact the case here tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see which lines, like we were just talking about, which line's going to be dominant. I really don't know what to expect. I haven't done a race at Homestead at all with the new configuration. It's going to be a lot of new variables coming into this race. Also, the fog. I don't know how that's going to affect the race. You can barely see out of our SimTV cameras. The visibility is very low as we got Race Clark on the pole. James Miller actually did qualify third. And I'm trying to see. Pretty much everyone else, Gruenberg did not qualify. Jeffrey Fisher as well. So the 09 is going to have the start at the front and try to lead laps early. He's got Eisenman to compete with, though.
So, again, this being the last 3-Wide Racing League race on SimTV, this is going to be the end of an era for many. We want to give a huge thank you to Corey Lindsay, who drives the 00 car. He'll be starting from the tail of the field here tonight. Corey was one of the drivers that, well, actually, I should say one of the league owners that came to us all the way back in 2018, and it feels like it wasn't that long ago, but at the same time, it feels like it was decades ago. Came to us when we were still kind of a fledgling broadcasting organization, and they've been with us the entire time. And they've run year-long seasons, and really this is only the third real season we've done with these guys. They generally run from February all the way to November. Of course, they split it up into 2 seasons this year. But, of course, it started all a couple years ago with the Race Kings Cup Series and then the Nationals that we ran in the spring, and then now with the 87 stock car. So one final race, 133 laps. Let's roll through our starting lineup here, Connor, and head down the grid. On the front row, it's going to be Race Clark in the number 22 and the number 77, Drew Eisenman.
Both still championship competitors. Eisenman 4 points out. Race Clark needs a little bit of help. On that second row right there, we have James Miller, who's the favorite tonight without a doubt, and Sam Close in fourth. And that third row, Brent Miller and Richard Hines.
And already some cars rolling off onto the racetrack as we move on to row number 4. That's going to be Justin Colbin, the number 52 car, starting in 7th. Skylar Nissel rolls off in 8th in the number 11 car. Mike Stevens starts 9th in the number 63, and Michael Goodman in 10th in the number 44.
That's everyone who qualified on time. Then we got another championship competitor, Matt Gruenberg, one of the fastest this season behind Miller. Maybe he can pull it off. He's alongside Chuck Sweeting in that 6th row. Then the 7th row, the points leader himself, Jeffrey Fisher, alongside Brady Smith.
The last couple rows here, starting in 15th, Jonathan Cogswell in the number 27, Nick Boyd in the number 74, and I believe we've got one more driver, make that 2. Corey Lindsay rolls off 17th, and Alex Boyd in 18th, and that is the rest of your grid here for tonight's event. Up at the front, though, is the 77 and the 22, and you have to feel for Race Clark in that Diet Dr. Pepper Thunderbird, coming in strong after the win at Talladega, and then at Phoenix with the disconnection that he had, took him out of the championship running, but I know he had the pace to win it. It's going to take a lot for him to do it here tonight. Pace Truck is going to make the hard left onto pit lane. 133 laps to round out the season, and 3-Wide Racing League. Green flag in the air, and we're racing at Homestead. The field thunders off into the fog in turn number 1 at Homestead.
I feel like this is definitely going to be a SimTV first, trying to broadcast through the fog. This is definitely unique to me.
It's not a first, but it is maybe the first time on an oval. We've done it at Spa a couple times. All in the back straightaway now, field fanning out and getting single filed here. Eisenman battling for second. He's going to go the long way around of James Miller, who again, with 7 race wins this season, he was sort of the shoe-in, but hasn't been running all that well in the chase. You'll see the chase competitors lit up in blue on the left-hand side of your screen. The 52 and 89 almost had it coming together at the exit of turn 4.
But with fighting for that same line up there near the wall, we're going to try maybe 3 wide into turn number 1. And it seems like a lot of drivers want to be on that top line. No one's even going close to that white line. Got a car in the wall.
Jeffrey Fisher sideways, the points leader.
The points leader.
Onto the apron. He's going to pull it back up on the racetrack, slow it back down. We stay green, but a scary moment for the driver atop the point standings. And as they run, that would actually flip-flop and give Matt Gruenberg the points lead. He's battling for 7th.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. He just sent it into turn 1, and the car just slid up. He actually got some left front damage from the transition onto the apron, but I think he should be fine. He lost a lot of track position. Got a long way to go in this race, so it doesn't hurt you too badly, but you don't want to be doing that. You got to get yourself zoned in here.
Into turn 1, the 54 is going to go to the bottom of the racetrack. Big slide by Justin Kolb. Remember the last time we were here at Homestead for a 3-Wide Racing League finale? It was actually the 52 and 54 battling in the Cup Series cars. And it came down to the last few laps where we thought Kolb could win it. In the very last moment, I think it was actually vice versa, where Kolb was coming to the front. He couldn't quite get there. He runs in front of Gruenberg now, who's battling Sam Close. We haven't seen a lot of Sam this season, running 5th right now. I'm sure he'd like to finish out strong.
He's trying to get to that right rear of Justin Kolb to get the positioning on him, because apparently right now that outside looks to be the best line. You don't want to be right next to that wall, but I don't think you want to be on the top. Sam Close is going all over the place trying to get to that wall, but he can't make it work. The first one to go to the way bottom, Matt Gruenberg, trying to make up some time, and he did make up a decent amount of time. Got by the 5 there, trying to work on the 52.
Saw Brent Miller go for a big slide. He gathered it back up in that number 89 just in the background. Miller works over Eisenman for a second, but Gruenberg has been one of the biggest movers so far, 11th to 4th, and he's going to set his sights on his teammate. And I think between the two teammates tonight, Miller and Gruenberg, I'd probably take Gruenberg. He's been peaking at the right time, where his teammate Miller sort of peaked out earlier in the season. Jeffrey Fisher has gotten lucky, I think, but I don't know if he's actually faster than his two teammates in the Team AV camp in those Chevrolets.
It's kind of weird to talk about it that way, because Jeffrey Fisher has all the advantage in the world. He's got the 3-point lead going into tonight, but at the same time, he obviously already had that slide, and he definitely has not had the pace that Miller and Gruenberg have had. 11 wins between those two teammates and Jeffrey Fisher, with 2 wins. I believe one of them at Daytona at the season openers, but I definitely think Gruenberg's in the catbird seat. He's been running better in the chase. They kind of screwed themselves over at Dega. I remember they were working together. It just didn't work out for them. Gave Race Clark that victory. And Gruenberg's got a 3-point advantage on James Miller, as well as the pace advantage. But right now, he's got to worry about getting up to the 77 to Drew Eisenman as well.
You mentioned James Miller in that 0-9 again. 7 wins on the season. Looked unstoppable. Just clicked with these cars. Unfortunately for him, his teammate has caught on in the recent weeks and has closed that gap in the points. And at one point, I legitimately thought Matt Gruenberg would be the driver to win the championship. I think Miller has responded well with the qualifying effort tonight. But here comes that 54 to the bottom of the racetrack. Race Clark is also there, leading this race. They're 2x2, 2 Thunderbirds, and 2 Chevrolet Monte Carlos running in tandem right now.
And we've seen James Miller usually never qualify for any races this season for the most part. Do you think that's a bit of urgency being shown? He qualified 3rd. He usually doesn't qualify up there as the 22 way sideways on the bottom. You had to save it. They're going to go 3 wide.
3 wide down the back straightaway. Race Clark gathered it back up after having that big moment. Miller pushes Eisenman to the top spot, moved the 77 to the race lead into turn 3. And just like that, Race Clark will go from 1st, maybe down to 4th. Here comes Kolb. Might put him down in 5th spot as they run at the exit of turn 4.
That really hurt the 54. He kind of hesitated. I don't think he wanted to go middle with Race Clark on the bottom, so he kind of just backed out, cost him some time. Now Eisenman's got the lead. Look at Gruenberg, how far him and Justin Kolb are going to dive to that bottom lane. The only 2 drivers right now who've been testing the waters. Look at a 0-9 trying to get to the right rear of Eisenman. Almost 3 wide for the lead.
Exit of turn 2, now a drag race down the back straightaway. Eisenman leads the way. Miller trying to go the long way around. This opens up a lot of questions about how this racetrack is going to race tonight. Will we see multi-groove racing? And already I think we've seen a little bit of that. Miller drives in hot into turn 3.
I thought he was going to hit Eisenman. Then I thought he was going to hit the wall. Good job gathering it up. That's going to give the 52 a shot to get to the bottom of him. That also gives the 54 the clear way for a second there. But he's going to dive right back to the bottom. Justin Kolb following him in.
The 0-9 all the way up to the fence. He's really exploiting that upper groove. What do we expect to see tire wear be on that upper groove? Is it going to be better or worse than running on the bottom?
I honestly, to be honest, this is the first time where I've been stumped. I think it's going to be a mystery until we do get to the end of a run, potentially. I don't think, the surface looks pretty smooth. I don't think the wear is going to be all that bad. I think you're going to wear your right front out more on the bottom and wear out your right rear more on the top. It's just, we got to get to the end of this run and see what really happens, because as far as I know, I have no recollection of what the tire wear is going to be on this surface, if it is any different.
Cross the line that time.
Race Clark almost into a wall there. Sorry, he was really trying to rim ride up there.
Cars fanning out behind him, but still side by side for the race lead. Eisenman has not been able to completely hold off to 54.
Spin out of turn 2. Who is it? Mike Stevens into the inside wall just about.
Locks it down. He gathers it back up. Will stay green. No caution. That has recently been repaved down there for the iRacing service. So we will not have any car contact, and Mike Stevens will get back rolling. Lap 10 complete, and Grunberg is still fighting for that top spot.
Got pretty much 3 lanes being used here. Grunberg on the bottom, Eisenman sort of in the middle. The 09, James Miller's been searching farther up top than Eisenman is, but can't make anything work there. The 54 making his bottom line work really well, but he just can't get enough through the center to clear him on exit there. He's really having to fight down there.
Remember that Drew Eisenman is behind both the 54 and the 98. I believe he's actually ahead of, and let me just double check this, he is ahead of James Miller by 2 points. So right now, Drew Eisenman, if Matt Grunberg were to have any trouble, he would be the driver in championship contention right now. That's why leading laps is so important, and why the 77 needs to keep fighting this just to take laps away from the 54, because we all know he's going to be hard to beat. Big slide into turn number 4, or turn 2 rather, comes up right in front of him and takes the lead away.
And this is urgency for a lot of these guys because they see that 98. He's way down the order. Hasn't really made much time back up. Jeffrey Fisher still marred back in 12th. Only moved up 1 spot. He's not able to make it work. Grunberg got really loose on the top. Eisenman trying to pull the slide job right back on the 54, and he's able to do that.
Eisenman back to the top spot. The 2 teammates line astern behind. They're going to move over to the inside for turn number 1. Aim for the white line. Which way is faster right now? I don't think we've determined that.
I don't know. Grunberg looks really strong on the bottom, and he went to the top to protect that top from Drew Eisenman, but Eisenman was able to make that bottom work as well. So I think the bottom might be better, but it's very treacherous down there. If you slide up too far, you might end up wrecking yourself and a few others. So I think the outside's where you play it safe. The inside's just where you try to make power moves to get to the front. Eisenman's starting to pinch to 54 a little bit.
2 by 2 as they exit turn number 4. The 22 of Race Clark led the opening several laps of this race. He's dropped to 5th place. But Grunberg going to drive in hard into turn 1. He might be able to clear the 77, but Eisenman will carry the momentum on corner exit and might have a run to build back up here on the back straightaway.
And he got really sideways there. He's going to have a run, but I don't think he has enough momentum to get alongside him. He might just stay in line on the outside. Nope, there he goes. He's going to dive to the bottom as Grunberg blocked a little bit, but 77's going to have clear on the bottom. But I don't think he has the tire to really fight with the 54. He's going to try rolling the center well, but he's not going to get even close.
Got through there okay, but not going to be good enough to get alongside the 54. We saw him drive in hard into turn 3. You could hear the tires actually struggle to turn in. Seems like he's dealing with some major understeer on the turn-in portion. Right now, Miller drives up the racetrack in turns 1 and 2 and sees the hole open up above the 77. He might try to sneak in there, now cross over on the back straightaway, or maybe just push him back to the 54.
He's finally going to go to the bottom. I was just about to say how he has really not ventured to that bottom line yet, but finally he's going to go for it, and he almost clears him immediately before they even get to the center. Eisenman trying to pinch him. 09's going to come up the track a little bit, but the 09's just got better tires. I think the 77 might have wore his stuff out, but he's going to hang on strong on that outside.
Justin Kolb watching from behind, smells blood in the water here. It's early in the race. There's not much to gain by fighting this too hard. But if you can pick up a spot easy because 2 in front of you are fighting, then go for it. He's going to close in on that 77, now roll the outside groove, try to carry some more speed.
I think we're finally going to start to see these leaders spread out a little bit. Grunberg's got a few tenths of a second lead over his teammate in the 09. This is big for him to lead laps, because I don't believe James Miller's led a lap yet. Keep him out of a lead, lap lead column, and you might have a good chance at winning this championship. He's starting to pull away from everyone while they still squabble for that second position right now. Eisenman almost got back to him. He's worrying about the 52 at the same time.
Well, they've gotten it mostly sorted for the top spot now, 17 laps in. Grunberg leads by half a lap. Jumping back a bit, there's Brent Miller in the 89, Richard Hines in the 87. And Jeffrey Fisher, after that big moment he had earlier in the race, he's actually clawed his way back into a top 10 position. And all he really needs to do is finish ahead of the others in front of him, and that would, with a lap or 2 led, I think I'd be feeling pretty good if I was Jeffrey Fisher. Again, a 3-point lead over Matt Grunberg. So if he can finish in front of that 54 and in front of that 77, that'd be a huge step in controlling his own destiny.
Even though he had that big slide, he's still usually pretty much every single lap. He's running time similar to the leaders right now. The 2.60 by Grunberg, and see this time by Fisher at 2.65. That's pretty even to what the leaders are doing. So he still has the pace, even though he has that left front damage. Just a matter of getting that track position back before anything else.
We didn't get a great look at the weather earlier, so let's look at it now. Again, it's pretty foggy, high humidity here. Track temperature can come down just a little bit, and I'm curious to see if it will do so without the insulation from the sky radiating down across the line now for complete lap number 18. Miller under attack from Eisenman still. But I think we're starting to get these guys sorted out. I think it's 54.09.77. Maybe you could stick that 52 up the road 1 or 2 more spots.
Yes, Kolb's always been he's been pretty good in the chase. He's been a sneaky pick for a lot of these races in the chase. He's able to wheel that car places no one else can, but a lot of the time it's just keeping the car under him that's a big issue. So I think the 52 might have a shot at this. Also, I just noted the hood, really nice touch on the hood to thank you to 3WideRacing. They're pretty much all over his car, actually.
Yeah, on the hood and on the rear end as well. Across the line now, half a second. That time by Grunberg was one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, and indeed he was the fastest by a couple hundredths of a second over teammate James Miller in behind. So let's talk strategy here. We mentioned tire wear. Are we seeing this track become more single groove the longer that we run? That seems like what I'm noticing here is that I'm not seeing guys get quite as creative with the lines they're running.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of drivers start to dive to the bottom a little bit more. Grunberg kind of started that trend, and Eisman's been trying to follow. Race Clark's down there as well. We're seeing that top lane kind of get abandoned here. So I think we're seeing what this is drivers learning the track more. I don't think they got enough practice possibly in race trim, racing each other. And I think we're starting to see a lot of drivers figure out there's only one dominant line. That being said, Grunberg's the only one to go to the bottom that time.
And Miller seems like he's still experimenting with the upper groove, and I don't know if it's really getting him any speed, but he's certainly giving it a try. Turn 3 now. 0.8 of a second. The lead is still growing for the 54, and I wonder how long Miller is going to play with different lines, because I think there is sort of a rush to be up front and stay up front, Connor. You want those bonus points, especially for James Miller. You're coming in 6 points back from the points lead in a championship after you won 7 races, almost half the races we've run so far. I don't think you have time to experiment. I think you got to go up there, run down your teammate, pass him, and make sure that he doesn't get any more bonus points for leading the most laps led.
It's not even Grunberg he has to worry about. He's still got Eisman right behind him, who also led laps, so he's got the bonus point advantage on him as well. He's still behind Eisman in those points. If that 98 gets back up into the field, even though with the bonus points, he still might be close with him. Pretty much everyone still has a shot at this. There's really no separation, but the 54 has definitely got the upper hand. Someone's got to do something to get him out of a lead, or else he might really be in the captain's seat for this championship.
Jumping back a little deeper in the field, here's Nick Boyd in the 74 and Brady Smith in the number 20. And Brady Smith, this is his first season here with 3Wide, and hasn't been a remarkably successful one, but he's had some fairly decent runs. Runs in 15th right now, a bit of a struggle so far. Hard to find speed here at Homestead, Connor. It's a track that requires a lot of finesse.
Yeah, you need finesse to run here, else you're going to be way off the pace. It's especially with the new configuration. I don't think anyone knew what to expect, and a lot of these drivers are just still learning what line does what. Do you want to run up here? Do you want to be close to the apron? Brady Smith sent it in hard there, trying to get to the bottom, kind of missed it. Still trying to get to the rear bumper of the 74 there. It takes a lot of skill. It takes a lot of practice to, kind of perfect a track like this. So I can't say I'm very surprised that a lot of these drivers are struggling to find one dominant line.
Eisenman and Kolb are side by side for third. Give the 52 the advantage now. And Justin Kolb has always been good at Homestead Miami Speedway. I mentioned last time we were here, that was in the Cup cars a year ago. And Kolb almost won the championship. Big slide there. The 77 is going to drag race him up off turn 4.
I think he wanted that slide job, but the 77 wasn't having any of it. He still needs to stay with that 09, because we were talking about the 54 getting away. Now it's really just those two, Grunberg and James Miller. Something we've seen a lot this year, those two pulling away all of a sudden. Here goes the slide job again. He's going to make it work, Kolb is.
A little bit loose out of turn number 2. The 77 will probably dive back down to the inside. He's actually going to give him a shot here into turn 3. They move Kolb forward one spot. Kolb about 0.3 off the leader's pace, the front 2 last time by. And all out front, it's Matt Grunberg, but his lead has sort of stopped extending. It's about 8.9 of a second. This is where it's been sort of held for the last 5 or 6 laps. He isn't really expanding it all that much.
Yeah, they're kind of even right now. I think the 09 doesn't have as much on exit as the 54 right now. That draft is really helping him, pull him back up to him a little bit, but it's not as effective as in the new Cup cars, obviously, so it's really not doing much at all as he's still comfortably in second. That'll be good for the points. Now he just has to worry about who's doing what behind him, and he's also got to focus on catching his teammate, which just seems to be pretty difficult so far.
Coming into the night, I think Matt Grunberg was my prediction to win this race. I don't necessarily know if that wins him the championship with all things considered. I think he'll be in a great spot considering that he is second in the standings. I think there is a scenario in which Jeffrey Fisher finishes behind him and Matt Grunberg does not win the championship. So, whoa, Miller, big moment out of turn two. He gathers it back up. That was a scare.
Yeah, that was almost, that was almost season over right there. I don't know how he was able to save that. And you know what? That's a good thing. There's not grass down there anymore because he would have been sliding trying to keep control of that.
Back in throttle just got a little bit wrong and just power drove it all the way down to the apron. Again, with that asphalt down there, you get a bit more opportunity to collect yourself before it ends up being a crash.
Yeah, he just got too high up there trying to get the run, and then luckily he was able to save it and control that slide, but he lost a lot of time to his teammate, about pretty much half a second there. He's fallen back into the clutches of Justin Kolb, and Drew Eisenman is still there as well, as Race Clark's got a battle on his hands for the 5th position. Chuck Sweeting's made his way up to the front, all the way from 12th.
Chuck Sweeting, been a long-time competitor here on SimTV from many different oval racing leagues, most notably with 3Wide, runs in 6th right now, trying to run down Race Clark, who had a great, strong start but didn't have the tires to hang on. He led the opening 6 laps of this race before falling to 2nd and beyond.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot from him this season. That's kind of plagued him a lot. Obviously, the internet plagued him last week, but there's been a lot of times where he'd lead early and then drop back because he outran his tires. So this might be another case of that, just wearing him off a bit too much, falling into the clutches of guys like Chuck Sweeting. Also, Sam Close, he also fell back a little bit, started 4th. He was running up there at the front for a little bit. He's back to 7th, sort of the same problem with him.
And the man that helped facilitate that win at Talladega is actually Brent Miller in this number 89. Remember, he charged through the Team AV teammates at the end at Dega a couple weeks ago and was really the force that split the teammates apart and let the 22 come through there and steal the victory. Brent Miller runs in 8th place right now after starting in 5th, so a slight slide backwards towards Richard Hines, who is also dropped backwards a similar amount, 6th to 9th.
Jeffrey Fisher right there behind them in 10th. He got to that top 10 spot and just kind of stayed stagnant. The time's not really comparing to the leaders anymore, and he hasn't been able to make much ground up on the 87 or the 89 right now, so he's not in a good spot. Definitely not out of it yet, but you need to get those bonus points. I wonder if he's going to try to run this stint long, maybe try to get those bonus points for at least a lap led before diving into the pits, because he's got some ground to make up.
I'm curious to see how long these stints are going to be tonight. Again, 133 laps. You probably roughly split this into thirds, would be my guess. So I would see, probably maybe lap 9 or lap 45 to 50, maybe you'd come down, maybe a little sooner than that, Connor. When do you think we'll start seeing drivers hit pit lane?
Well, Justin Kolb almost got into a wall there, but I think around 45, if the fuel, they got big fuel tanks, I assume they can make it to around 45, and I doubt we're going to see anyone try to stretch it all the way to lap 67. Doubt that's even possible, so I think thirds is around what you want to do. Around lap 44 would be where you would want to start doing that thirds evenly strategy, so we'll see. We might see a lot of drivers get spread out here because I think we're going to see a lot of strategies.
This will probably be a strategy race. Again, I don't think we're going to see a lot of cautions. I remember that this racetrack typically goes caution-free for many leagues now just because of the nature of the racetrack and how wide it is. You've got a lot of escape routes if things happen. Richard Hines still working over Brent Miller for 8th. We'll have 100 laps to go next time by. It's about 58 minutes worth of racing, barring any caution flags. And so far, Matt Grunberg has been the dominant force. That's something I've gotten really used to saying in the last 3 years, but it's not over till it's over by any stretch.
I mean, we saw that last week with the 22 kind of being a fast car, but, not wrecked from the lead, internet from the lead, obviously. So anything can happen, but that 54, I don't think there's anyone that can touch it right now, not even James Miller. That big slide by Miller really hurt his tires. It's been about a 10th a lap slower the last few times. We'll see this time a 146 from Grunberg. Actually only about 300th slower that time, but that 54 is pulling away, and he's not showing any signs of slowing down.
No, he definitely is not onto the back straightaway again. The sun is setting. Couldn't really tell with all the atmospheric conditions kind of drowning out the sunlight, but the lights are on here at Homestead, and as it gets darker, the dew point should fall, and this I think that this fog will sort of go away. Either that or it's just going to get very, very dark. Jeffrey Fisher slow. Did he get the wall in turn 3 or 4?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think I see any damage up there, but he's under attack for that. The 12th position now, Skylar Nissel. I think he might have had another slide or something there.
He's
Might
got
have
out
had
of
a third
shape.
too. He lost a lot of time out of nowhere.
He's got really high up on the racetrack and couldn't coax it back down. He's going to lose a couple spots. Nissel slides in front of him. Meanwhile, for third, Kolb in the 77 of Eisenman almost touching to turn 3.
Was trying to wreck each other. They've been right next to each other a lot. Eisman kind of charging back on Kolb after the 52 got by him, trying to slide up in front of him. Not quite clear, though. I'm wondering if the 98 overused his tires trying to get back to the front because, you know, slowing down like that all of a sudden, he's really not having a fun time going through the corners. I wonder if that's a tire issue.
Could be. Again, we're about 10 laps from when I would expect to see drivers start to hit pit lane. Big bobble for the 77 as he clears the 52, but Kolb still got a pretty decent run. I think that 52 is a hair faster right now. It needs to be a lot faster to get this pass done. See the 22 of Race Clark starting to creep back into the picture.
Bringing Chuck Sweeting with him. I also think the 26 might be a little faster than Race Clark, but you need to be a bit more fast to try to get up alongside him to make any sort of move. And the 52 and the 26 in similar situations right now as Kolb's going to dive back to the inside again.
Drive right up to the door of the 77. Pulls even with them through the middle of turn 2. Down the back straightaway. This is where the 77 should get an advantage. They're going to chase each other down the straight, racing for third place.
That side draft is effective. If you can use it to your advantage, it can work. 52 almost clipped the apron. They're going to slide up in the center. 77 is going to get the run. He's going to probably get him back. We'll see if 52 tries to get to that left rear to pull him back. I don't think he can.
Eisenman re-clears the 52, but Kolb is still hot on his heels into turn number 1. Up the racetrack. Look at James Miller. He's rim riding up there trying to find pace, and he's only a 10th off the race leader. I'm curious what the 54 is doing, but we'll keep an eye on our battle for third and for fifth. Race Clark feeling the pressure from Chuck Sweeting.
This is a 4-car battle for that podium position right now. This is Race Clark. This is pretty much desperation mode at this point. He needs a win and to lead the most laps. And in my opinion, I think most laps is already out the window unless something crazy happens. So he's just hoping some miracle coming out of the fog can potentially happen for him. But it's not going well so far. But he has a chance to probably get the third. Big slide into 1, but he looks faster right now. Look at the 52, diving hard to the bottom right now, trying to get that third position.
Heard the 77 drive off into turn 1, turn the wheel, nothing happened. The front tires just slid. And the 52 was able to get that car pointed down. And Homestead's one of those places where you kind of drive in and the car slides up the racetrack and you don't feel like it's going to catch you, and then it does. So watch the 52, hits the apron, slides up, and then the car catches and you carry on. But it's an unsettling feeling, and that killed momentum of Justin Kolb. Here comes Clark and Sweeting.
Really tough. If you don't get that car to get pointed, you're going to probably go into the wall. If you point it too much, you're going to hit the apron, and that apron is not your friend. It completely ruined the 52's run. He tried to take a swipe at the 77 just about right there. Got good momentum out of the corners. Those two are still battling for fifth on their own. Look at 26 wheeling that thing out of a corner. He's just trying to push Race Clark up there and potentially cause some havoc.
3 seconds between Matt Grunberg and James Miller, so no battle for the lead. It's all for third place right now. It's a 4-horse fight. Kolb runs up the racetrack a little bit, maybe going to try to beat the 77 in his own game. Pit stops coming soon for our first green flag sequence. Now that track temperature actually rising a little bit as the night goes on. I thought we'd see that track temp fall. Meanwhile, here comes the 26 of Sweeting. Oh, big moment, big slide through turns 3 and 4. He gathers it back up. And he keeps the momentum rolling, too. I don't think he's going to get this pass complete, but he did a great job hanging on to it.
Yeah, this is really good stuff right now. Not really what we're accustomed. We're used to seeing single groove in that middle line because of his reconfiguration. Drivers are still 40 laps into this race trying any sort of lane that they can possibly find.
Oh.
They're going to put him in the wall.
Oh. Contact, the 52 hard in the fence. Race Clark splits the middle, 3 wide on the backstretch. That was big damage there for the for the 52 car.
He's not going to be happy about that. He kind of just got used up there. Eisman wasn't having any of it. 52 just got put in a wall.
Yeah, right there. The 77 drifts up, just keeps coming, and just drills the 52. I'm sure that will not be the last of that conflict that we see tonight. Just keep an eye out for this 52 car. If he gets that car repaired, he might be a weapon to the 77. Meanwhile, look at the 26 and 22, still side by side off turn 2.
Sweeting just trying to make anything work down there, but it seems like it's still hard to pass on that bottom line. You can make it work if you just use up your competitor like Eisenman did, and you could also just dive it way down into the corner like Chuck Sweeting just did. Race Clark might have given him that one, but Sweeting finally now up to the 4th position after the 52's troubles. 52 still trying to get back up to him, I think, but that right front is pretty killed.
No pit stops yet from any of our front runners, expecting them shortly. If you wanted to split this race into even thirds, you'd be pitting around now. We'll see what the math is tonight. Maybe you want to run longer on the first stint to have better tires towards the end. Maybe you want to pit early and try to leapfrog the 54. Having a look at our lap times, though, Connor, I'm not seeing an enormous amount of drop-off, about 0.7 of a second. It's not a lot, so I don't really think an undercut or an overcut is a great strategy. I think you just got to pit with the drivers in front of you and hope just that you can find a different line and go faster. I just don't think that pitting very soon or very late in the sequence is going to be a big advantage.
Yeah, I don't see much advantage happening at all. But you know, I'm not really seeing what happens. Ooh, now we got a pit stop. I was noticing this guy's times dropping off. Jeffrey Fisher is in the mid 36s, and he just came into pit lane to spill up in even thirds. He has been struggling.
I wonder if he was about to have a tire go down, but they all look up right now.
I think it was. He was going way off. He was way off the pace. He got up to 10th and just kept falling. He was about 1.5 seconds off his teammate in the lead. So this has not been a good race for him so far. He needs help.
I'll tell you what, Chuck Sweeting is flying right now. His lap time was actually quicker than Matt Grunberg on the previous lap. Not this lap we just ran, but the one before. It was a couple thousandths faster. And I think Sweeting might be a little bit better than our race leader. Meanwhile, Brent Miller hits pit lane, and this is going to start the sequence here, Connor. So if you're Drew Eisenman, you hit pit lane now, I think. I mean, you can leapfrog the 26 by going one lap sooner, so you might as well try it. Otherwise, that 26 might hold on to the spot for the rest of the race.
I heard about James Miller. I'd expect him to maybe try to undercut his teammate, but he hasn't really done anything yet. He might just follow him in. Mike Stevens' lap down car came into pit road that time, but everyone else other than the 54 is in a tight spot because they got to pit early to get back up to him. The 54, there's not much fall off. He could probably run the fuel out all the way and still get probably back into the race lead after he is pit stopped. So he is in total control of this race right now.
Justin Kolb's a couple tenths off pace with that right front damage. Sam Close just got by him for 6th. Meanwhile, behind, there's Jonathan Cogswell and Skylar Nissel. Thunderbird and Monte Carlo battling for 9th and 10th. Brent Miller back out on the racetrack, exiting turn number 2. We've got to watch that blend line, make sure you don't violate that pit exit. He's done a good job right there. Jeffrey Fisher is back out on the racetrack, albeit not a good night. As you mentioned, this has not been a successful evening for the points leader, and as of now, he is not the points leader and will not win this championship.
No, he's not even close. He's been way off. He had a terrible long run there. His tires, they just wouldn't cooperate with him. He had that slide early. He tried making up for lost time by driving the car hard, and it didn't work. And now he's in a big hole, and he's probably definitely going to need some sort of yellow to happen at the right time for him to get back into this. He is not in a good place right now, still sliding into the corners.
Look at Race Clark and Eisenman fighting for position. This just goes to show you how much the 77's falling off pace as the 22 is about to go back by him here. Eisenman has fallen off a cliff. Maybe he beat up his tires as well here, Connor. So the 22 and 77, these guys work so well together at Talladega. That was a big moment there for the 77.
Lifted there to let Race Clark by. Maybe he thought the 52 would do the same thing for him when he slid up, but the more he slides back, the closer he gets to that 52. 2/10 slower than Justin Kolb last time by, so we'll have to look out for that, as still no pit stops really among the front. Michael Goodman, another lap down car, just came in.
Yes, Goodman comes on in for his first stop. Here comes Skylar Nissel peeling off the racetrack. That's really hot. He gets it slowed down. Nicely done.
Much easier to pit when you don't have to use an access road nowadays.
It is. This track used to be very treacherous because of that access road in turns 3 and 4. Actually see it here off to the right of your screen. That access road, you had to peel off and head down this. It's very tricky to keep a stock car online through that section without any banking.
Did you circle the road course layout, or did you actually circle the I thought I saw you circle the road course.
I think I did. I think I circled this. It's actually here.
Yeah, it's right. I mean, you could try using that. I think it goes the same way.
It does, not in a way that you would want to take. So don't take my advice. Don't go down that way on the pit lane. Probably not a very effective way.
No, I don't think that would be recommended. You lose a lot of time there. Speaking of losing time, Cogswell, he just dropped back to 9th, got passed by Richard Hines because he slammed the wall at a turn number 4. Still no other pit stops. I wonder if we're going to try potentially a one-stop for a lot of these guys, because then again, there is no fall-off, so you might as well just run it out to the very end.
If you can run it out to, how far do you have to go? You have to go to almost lap, what,
7.
65?
67 because it's 133, so you can
yeah,
just up to
67.
67, 68 range if you really want to make it on one stop. I think that's tough, but these fuel tanks are pretty big, so I guess you never know.
If you could make it another 15 laps, you'd be good to go. We might see some drivers try that. A big lift for James Miller, but it's hard to tell. These cars don't slow down that great, so you can never tell if they're lifting.
Oh, Mike Stevens hard into the inside wall. I think he wrecked entering the pits. He wrecked right in front of our leader.
No caution. We stay green. It's the second incident Mike Stevens has had tonight. Let's go back and look at it.
Huge. All of a sudden, I saw smoke. I couldn't find who was spinning, and then all of a sudden, Stevens clobbered that inside wall.
Yeah, off turn 4. Oh man, he hit that. He hit that thing a ton, man. Drilled it right in front of Brady Smith.
Brady Smith trying to pit. He almost hit the tire barrier down there. He just started sliding and he couldn't save it.
So the danger now for everyone is, look at Matt Grunberg. He is all by himself out front by 6.5 seconds over James Miller. I mean, no, this is one of these situations very much like Rockingham, Connor, where driver gets out front and it's going to be hard to reel him back in without a caution flag, and I don't think we're going to see one of those tonight.
Yeah, I don't know how you're going to, dethrone a 54 without a yellow. I don't know if it's possible unless he beats himself. James Miller is struggling. He's looking every sort of way, trying to find a line that works, but that he's going to lose that second position because Chuck Sweeting is still flying. Actually, the fastest car on the track last time by. Actually, no, Michael Goodman was, but as far as the top 5, I think he had the best time, but barely. He's been flying, and that 09's been kind of dying.
Sweeting, again, has proven over time that he's been a really good long-run driver and continues to close. He's won a couple races here in 3 wide. Runs often. But here he is running in second now, about 7.5 seconds behind Matt Grunberg. I'm curious to see if he can reel him back in. He's basically on par with him, as you mentioned.
Par with him. Grunberg almost got into the back of Alex Boyd trying to pass him. Boy, that was close. He almost ran straight in the back of him and damaged his car. That's not going to bring him down to pit road. I think that leaves only 10 cars on the lead lap. The next car he's going to lap is actually his teammate Jeffrey Fisher, who's about to be in danger of going 2 down.
The no other takers from first down to 11th. So I'd have to imagine if you can go another 10 laps, Connor, you're pretty much good. So I think we'll see drivers stay out and try to run this down on one more stop. 45 minutes of racing to go, and Matt Grunberg has led 44 laps. Looking pretty hard for anybody else to go up there and lead more than him. So that would give him a point and close him in down to 2 back from Jeffrey Fisher. But remember that Fisher is down in 14th place. And that would give him a bigger advantage over Drew Eisenman, who's down at 5th. So this is looking really, really good for a Matt Grunberg race so far.
I think that's what people are doing now. I think they're trying to get to that one-stop range, lap 67. This is when we're really going to start seeing those tire issues become a big issue. Justin Kolb hit the wall when he got walled by Eisenman. Look how far he's fallen back. He's fallen back to Richard Hines, Nick Boyd, and I believe that's Jonathan Cogswell. So he might have a tire problem happening as well. Also the 77, who's been falling off for a while now.
Goes around the outside. Going to squeeze up there. His car is actually kind of matches the wall here. Off into turn 3. I also noticed the abundance of NASCAR logos on the wall. I'm not exactly sure what that's supposed to be.
I don't know.
I'm not sure if you noticed that, but
I just did as you said it. Actually,
it's kind of awful looking, to be honest. So I hope that doesn't last for very long.
Yeah, I don't get that at all. Justin Kolb's going to come into the pits. I think he definitely had a tire going down. He almost ran a 37-second lap, so he's going to be the next taker. He couldn't make that 7, so he is not going to be in a good spot to make it on fuel.
Pretty sure he does have a left front down by the looks of it. The car's sitting on that left front wheel. I have to imagine he's got a tire potentially either going down or down at the moment. Back to Sam Close and Eisenman for 5th.
Alex Boyd, he's in 11th. Alex Boyd definitely has a tire going down. You can hear it going into turn number 1. Chuck Sweeting's going to go by him. Sam Close, he's kind of been pretty good on the long run lately, trying to get back up into that 5th, top 5 position. 77 Eisenman is really falling off, but Alex Boyd's just trying to lump around on that flat tire.
Doesn't sound very good at all.
Feel very good, I can imagine.
No. Not a sound I get to hear a whole lot here on Sim TV, so you see the car push up the racetrack, just has no steering left, so it's going to have to hit pit lane. I don't know if he knows. He's going to go around again.
Well, we saw this, remember the Michigan race earlier in the season? Jeffrey Fisher did the same thing. He was trying to make a fuel window, Fisher was at Michigan, and he ran on that tire for a long time just trying to make his fuel window. So maybe that's what Boyd's doing. He's trying his hardest to get to 67, but he's going to lose a lot of time in the process.
He's already a lap down. I'm not quite sure I understand this. The race is already sort of gone. I mean, I don't know what staying out another 5 or 6 laps and just giving up more time is going to do for you. I don't know. I don't quite get this strategy, but my other thought is, like, why would you make this a one-stop race from here if you know you can't make the tires last? Then what are you doing trying to do it again later? Here he comes. Now he's going to give up and hit pit lane. Not a lot left.
Maybe he just figured it out. Maybe he just put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, it could be. Matt Grunberg, though, has been quite gentle on the tires, enough to lead this race and be 8 seconds out front. That's almost a quarter of a lap.
Still running low 35s, excuse me. He's only had about a second. He's had less than a second to fall off, actually. It's been amazing to watch this. He's not going hard up to the wall out of a corner. He's able to keep the car not sliding. I mean, it's just been a perfect race for him so far. 8-second lead over Chuck Sweeting. Chuck Sweeting's been running faster times. I don't think he was faster this time. No, he wasn't. But, just a perfect race so far.
Down the back straightaway, all on his own. Sam Close is going to hit pit lane from 9th. Bit of a bobble, going to lock him up. He's in. Alex Boyd is leaving pit lane now with a fresh set of Goodyears. That'll make that car feel a little bit better than having a flat right front. Cogswell running in 6th and still kind of in the midst of a pit stop sequence. And now the question is, who can make it to the fuel window without blowing the tires out?
Other spin. Eisenman spun in turns 1 and 2 there. He's on the bottom. My goodness, he's destroyed that car.
Eisenman seeing the championship slip away.
I think he has a tire down as well.
He did have a tire go down. Here's a look at it. Yep, tire is down into turn 1, goes off the steer into the corner, just goes straight and slams into the wall here in turn number 1, bounces off. And didn't trigger a caution flag, but that is probably going to be the championship hopes over for a driver that came in 3rd in the standings.
Yeah, that's tough for him. That really don't know. Maybe the flagman's, kind of drunk or something. We're not getting yellows at all. That's a 3rd wreck. That could have been a yellow. He's going to get the pit road. Got lapped in the pit road by that 54 of Grunberg. And it's dropping like flies pretty much. And 54 really doesn't have much competition left. You got Sweeting, 8.5 back in 2nd. James Miller is next closest competition. Does Miller have a tire down? Yeah, he does have a tire down.
Oh, it's going to push up.
Hit the wall here.
You got to make it 3 more laps to get to halfway, and James Miller's now blown a tire in the 09, so he's way up the racetrack at the exit of turn 2, keeps it off the fence. But will the race leader blow a tire out at 175 into turn 1? Only time will tell.
Really, I was just about to say the last guy standing was James Miller. Oh, and he's into the wall. He's going to save it. He was really the last one standing, and now he's going to have a tire down. And I don't think he's going to make it to pit road.
No, he's not. He's going to try to make it the extra 2 laps. I think he knows the value now. He's still on the lead lap, can still make this strategy work. He knows he's going to have to be nicer to the tires on the next run to make them last. And maybe the extra rubber will help. Yes.
This is insane. Race Clark's also going out there with a flat tire, so this is insanity. The 54 is in a lead zone. He's going to lap the entire field because he's the only one, along with Chuck Sweeting, that's not having tire issues.
I mean, this reminds me of Indianapolis in 2008, just tires blowing everywhere. Grunberg's still rolling.
We're not getting yellows for them. The problem is we're not getting yellows for them. They're just on their own with nothing else to do now. Race Hark's going to go again. Richard Hines is going to hit pit road. He does not have a tire down. I don't believe. The
guy that's looking real smart here is Chuck Sweeting. Remember, he started all the way back in 12th as Grunberg hits pit lane here on lap 67 at the halfway point. Chuck Sweeting, oh, he's going to lock him down too. Sweeting's still rolling. And he's been getting faster and faster. He was 2/10 better than Matt Grunberg last time by. Look, he's going to go for an extra lap too. And every lap is going to matter when the tires are blowing out this much, Connor. If you can go another 3, 4, maybe even 5 laps, and you're the only one that doesn't blow a tire at the end of the race, is looking real smart.
I'm in awe of how this is unfolded. Race Clark going to hit pit lane. Same thing for James Miller. They got to their window, so they're good. But they definitely need to be less harsh on the tires. They also got to watch the cues to that you have a tire going down. You feel that car getting tight, entering a corner, and it just doesn't turn on exit. You got to figure you're having a tire going down. You're going to have to hit pit lane. I know the fuel window's important to get to, but we'll see how long Chuck Sweeting can go on his fuel. I'm amazed how a lot of these drivers just didn't know that they had tires going down.
Well, the danger for Chuck Sweeting, now that he's been out this long, is if the tire blows when you're trying to come to pit lane and you miss the pit road entrance, then you've lost a whole bunch of time. Anything that you would have gained will now be lost. So you can't push it too far. And if I'm Sweeting, I come down this time.
I think he literally just said over the radio as you were speaking, he is going to come this time, so he's going to stretch it a little farther. I wonder if we see 2 tires. I don't think that's possible to work with how the tires are wearing, but you never know. You got to gain time somewhere, I would assume. He's going to get into the pits, no lockup there, so he's going to get it nice and smooth.
Into the box past the halfway point here at Homestead. Nick Boyd out front. He's actually the last driver not to pit, although he's far enough out of the fray where I don't think it's going to be a huge benefit for him. And that will cycle Matt Grunberg back to the lead in theory. And the James Miller machine buried in 13th place. He's actually about to go a lap down to his teammate, and that is a huge deal, Connor. That would pretty much lock up the championship for Matt Grunberg with the 77 and the 09 down and out. I mean, this would pretty much lock it up right here, right now, unless the 22 of Race Clark has something magical happen in the second half of the race.
How hard does 09 is going to race his teammate to stay on the lead lap again? Same for Eisman. He's going to have to race really hard. These two are completely destroyed on their right sides. Even Grunberg has a bit of left front damage from something due to the transition onto the apron hitting. Saw the same thing with the 98, but I'm interested to see if they can even, do anything about it. Look how loose Eisman is on the bottom. He has nothing to fight with.
So Matt Grunberg, the blue car in this shot, he's passing 2 of his championship rivals. The other one is the 98 of Jeffrey Fisher, who's in 8th, and then Race Clark, who's in 10th. But really no challenger to the 54 car here tonight. He has been on top of it. He continues to tick off laps, and he's a lap ahead of pretty much everybody else in the fight.
This is what you do to lock up a championship, isn't it? You just go out there and dominate. I mean, he got to the lead. He didn't qualify, I don't believe, and he got up to the lead, and he just started pulling away. James Miller tried every single lane, but Grunberg was steady on that bottom lane, able to save his tires while doing it. It's just incredible what he's done so far today. He's going to dive to the bottom here, trying to lap his teammate, who's right now in the 12th position.
The only other driver I think that's got pace to rival the 54 car tonight is Chuck Sweeting, but he's down 9.5 seconds, and that's 9.5 seconds that Grunberg has to burn in terms of tire wear. So I think all that Grunberg has to do is just back down a little bit, and he can make it to the end easily. I don't know if he's got any fight coming from anybody unless there's a caution flag, which I don't think is super likely, even with the tires exploding like we've seen.
We already saw 3 wrecks not bring out yellow, so it's probably going to cause a 2-car incident, a big wreck in one of these corners to throw a yellow out. Even then, the championship competitors, you got 3 of them lapped right now. Jeffrey Fisher actually isn't a lap down, but he's on very old tires, and he's probably going to have to pit again. We do have a
Nissel!
Right. Skylar Nissel's around, and there's the yellow. We were just talking about it. Sam Close got into him in the 3.
Well, I retract my statement about the caution flags. We get our first one on lap number 72. Nissel turned around in turns 3 and 4.
That's terrible for Miller and Eisman. I don't remember if there's lucky dogs, but they're a lap down, and if there isn't a lucky dog, that's bad for both drivers, and it's bad for the 77 especially, because those two got nowhere to go now.
Contact between the 11 and the 5.
Oh, watch out. Nick Boyd got into him right there. That's the drawbacks of staying out long. You got yourself back in there. That was unfortunate.
So our first caution at lap number 72 involves 3 cars in turns 3 and 4 and totally scrambles the running order as people were still cycling out of the pit stop sequence. So Matt Grunberg is going to trap a couple of his teammates a lap down. Well, one of his teammates a lap down. Chuck Sweeting will drive right back up to the 54, and that really helps the 26 car, I think, Connor. That brings him right back up and puts him on the same strategy. But remember that the 26 has slightly fresher and newer tires, which I don't think is a pace advantage, but a longevity advantage.
He's actually got a fake down pit road here. He might actually...
Oh, they're going to come.
They're both going to pit. You might as well get fresh tires. Brent Miller way back there in 3rd place. Same for Justin Kolb. This is big for a lot of the drivers who are still on the lead lap. This is primarily big for that 98 of Jeffrey Fisher. We saw how bad he struggled. He had to pit all the way on lap 44. Our initial, what the window we thought was going to work, but it obviously could go on one stop. He was terrible on his tires. He got back on the lead lap because of that strategy. I think he's actually going to stay out here to try to lead a lap as well. So he's going to get that bonus point, but he really needs to tighten up here, save those tires, and, find a little bit of pace here and there to stay with the 54.
Yeah, I think he should come to pit lane, and I imagine that he will when everyone else cycles back out. But we'll see what his plans are here at the end of this race. Looks like a couple drivers will take the wave around. The 77 of Drew Eisenman will be one of them. Remember, he had a tire blow and some crash damage that have put him down on his luck. Came into the night third in the point standings behind the 54 and 98. 4 points back from the race, or from the championship lead, I should say. And as things are, if the race were to end right now, Jeffrey Fisher would win the championship. But he needs to, well, I think he's at a disadvantage tire-wise, or he needs to make another pit stop because that 54 and 26 are going to blow right by him like he stopped.
Yeah, he has to pit here. I don't know if it's 2 to green though. He is gonna pit. He might not even get his lap led here. So he's just gonna cycle out, and yeah, I don't think he's gonna lead that lap. Gruber's gonna get back up there in time, so that's not gonna work for him. Someone almost hit the pit barrels. I'm trying to see who that was. James Miller almost hit the barrels there. He did get the lucky dog, so he's back on the lead lap, but he has a lot of work to do.
So when we get back green, we'll be on about lap number 78 or 79 of 133. It leaves us about 60-ish laps to go. Your thoughts on the best driver in this field? Because I think, from my perspective, it's clear that it's the 54, but does the 26 throw a wrench in the championship situation?
I honestly don't think so. I don't think he's going to be able to pass the 54 because we were seeing those times go back and forth. They were really even, and more times than not, the 54 was slightly faster than Chuck Sweeting. I just don't think he can find a way around him, especially with how smooth and fast Grunberg is on the bottom. Unless he can find something on the top, riding the wall or something else, I don't know how you can pass him without maybe taking him out, but I know he's not going to take him out. It's going to be tough to get around him, that's for sure.
So at lap number 75, the field paused under yellow for the first time today. Check back a little ways, find Justin Kolb in the 52 and Jeffrey Fisher in the 98. We talked about the pace that he had earlier in the day. It was good, and then it fell off a cliff. What does Jeffrey Fisher have to do to keep that pace quick and stay up with the front runners and maybe get a chance to win this championship after he came in with a 3-point lead?
I think he's got to, figure out what he learned about those first 2 runs that he did. He learned what he did wrong and right those wrongs. You don't have a lot of time to do it, but you're going to have to figure out what you did wrong and how you save those tires and go fast while doing it. Take notes on what the 54 has been doing in his corners, what he's been doing to be so fast, much faster than the rest of the competition. Take notes here and there, right your wrongs, and you might have a shot at it, but he's got a long way to go. He's starting in about 10th, I believe. Yes, sir. So he needs a lot of ground to make up, but if anyone's going to do it, I wouldn't doubt the 98 for sure.
Nighttime has fallen here in Homestead, Miami. The typical finale for NASCAR, but a finale in more than one way tonight with the final race of the 3WideRacing League being contested here on SimTV. And 3WideRacing League will not resume operations in 2021 or for the short-term future. And if you enjoy watching 3Wide or any of the drivers in this field, keep an eye on our Discord. You can find a link to that in our description. You want to join the Discord and make sure that you stay involved with the vast community that is SimTV and the multiple leagues and participants in Fuel, ORL, Indy Elite, Scars, and more that join us here almost every night of the week. Pace car is going to pull off. Lap number 77 of 133. Grunberg on the inside, Sweeting on the outside. Back racing at Homestead. Green flag back in the air.
It's going to be a big restart for a lot of these guys. They're going to have to try to get, specifically Chuck Sweeting, he's going to have to try his hardest to race that 54 all the way through the short one to try to get track position over him. They're 3 wide in the back of the pack.
That's Jeffrey Fisher in the middle of it all. Going 3 wide with the middle of Cogswell and the 11 of Nissel. He's going to go to the bottom now. This is a risky pass here, but he's got to get it done.
No other choice at this point. He needs every point he can get, and that's going to put him up to the top 5 just like that. Chuck Sweeting on the bottom, trying to get a big run on the 54 of Grunberg, and he's got it, but he's not able to make the move just yet. He might look low in the 1.
Now some shuffling. The 52 is going to go from top to bottom. Elevator move into turn 1. 3 wide now with Nissel in the middle.
Look how much they're sliding. The 11's up the track. Cogswell's going to try a crossover here as the 52 gets by all of them. The 1 fatal swoop. He's almost close to hitting the wall. Makes it work somehow as the 98 is trying to set his sights on the leaders.
Lots of shuffling. Here comes James Miller with a head of steam. Can he drive through this pack of 4? He's going to have to slam on the binders. He's got nowhere to go. Track's blocked.
Is there as well, also trying to find a way by. Those 2 guys are in last-ditch efforts at this point to try to somehow get this championship out of the 54 to go 3 wide again. Nick Boyd and Cogswell's getting split by Eisenman as well, so they're going to stay 3 wide. Cogswell's got nowhere to go. It's the second time he's had to back out.
Nowhere to go. Justin Kolb watching all of it.
Oh! Oh, hard. Eisenman's around another yellow, and 2 championship competitors out just like that.
Trouble for Eisenman, and that is likely going to be it. That car is not going to be winning capable, and came into the night third in the standings, and will go home likely without a trophy. James Miller, how severe is the damage on that car? Fairly severe, Connor. That's not looking good.
He ran into the back of him. He had nowhere to go. 77 just slid too much. It just, comes out behind him, tries to lock it up. 9's there. 09 had a hard hit. He might have got more damage in the 77 even. The game ender, probably for sure. They were just, we kind of saw that coming, how stacked up that pack was.
Yeah, the 77 just got loose and then just directs the 09 straight into the outside safer barrier. Then Eisenman spins around, backs it in, and that damage is just way more severe than it's going to be than the car that will be in victory lane tonight. So in a puff of smoke, Eisenman, his championship hopes have gone almost out the window. Miller's car still might be salvageable, but it's not going to be as fast. I think your car is going to have to be in pretty good shape to take on Grunberg. And Grunberg and Sweeting right now, those cars are immaculate. Back down to pit lane.
Yeah, try and go into pit lane again. Those tires mean a lot. The wear isn't that big. That being said, Justin Kolb's going to be the first one to stay out. And I think
Race Clark.
Race Clark stayed out, so he'll get the lead again. We saw the tire wear wasn't that bad, but a lot of drivers figure that the tires do mean something, so they'll pit. And this is kind of the danger zone when this happens for Grunberg or Chuck Sweeting. This could really hurt them if they get involved in something in the mid-pack that they can't avoid. So this might be trouble. We'll have to wait and see.
The Race Clark will lead the race coming to the restart likely. And we'll step away for a moment, be back with you for the restart from Homestead for the final race of the 3 Racing League Cold Hard Art Cup Series. We'll be back in a few minutes.
In the heart of Virginia, there's a stretch of pavement that has ingrained itself in American racing history. Built in 1957 with just a bulldozer and a plot of land, Virginia International Raceway has become an icon. Over the years since its reopening in 2000, it has hosted IMSA, the American Le Mans Series, NASCAR, SCCA, and Champ Car races. Legends have raced there, including Roger Penske, Mark Donohue, Richard Petty, Hurley Haywood, Dan Gurney, and more. Between turns 11 and 12 stood a defying feature, an old oak tree. This tree stood untouched, shading the south end of the course for decades. For some, Oak Tree became a symbol of VIR and a reminder of how road courses used to be built. They used to be built with the lay of the land, following each contour and moving around obstacles, not through them. Earth may have been moved, but not tarnished. Oak Tree was a lasting memory of when tracks were not just built, they came to be, like the tree. Although Oak Tree no longer stands, nor does Hog Pen, turn 17, the corners both still bear the name of what used to exist. And the track stays unchanged the way it was meant to be, with the lay of the land, for the land. Maybe that's why Paul Newman called it heaven on earth.
Coming back to the restart here for the 3-Wide Racing League Cold Hard Art Cup Series. Race Clark in the 22 has stayed out on this most recent pit stop. So has the 52 of Justin Cole and the 74 of Nick Boyd. Everyone else came down for 4 Mr. Feelgoods and a tank of fuel. And now with 50 laps to go at Homestead. The final race of the season, Race Clark came in an underdog, but there's still a mathematical possibility he can wrench this away from the 54. Green flag back in the air from Homestead.
And one thing to know here, top 3 stayed out. 4th, 5th, and maybe even 6th got 2 tires. The 98, Jeffrey Fisher, definitely got 2 tires. I think right now, mathematically, that puts him in the lead for the championship, but he's going to have a hard time getting that lead away from the 54. Grunberg's going to charge back to the front. Look at the run the 52 has on the top for the race lead.
Justin Kolb around the outside into turn 3, drives it in hard. Look at the 98. He's going to drive to the bottom of the racetrack now with a huge head of steam. Where does he go? Both lanes blocked in front. Going to slot up in behind him, and behind them, look at Grunberg rim riding. He's going to grab 8th spot away.
He's got to get more than that. The 98's looking strong on 2 tires all of a sudden. Can he make those tires last to the end? That's my big question, because we still have about 50 laps to go, and he could not go 50 laps on tires last time by. He's hunting for that extra bonus point for that lap led, and look at him going for it. He wants it 3 wide right now.
To the bottom of the racetrack, Jeffrey Fisher slides up underneath the 22. He gets put middle 3 wide. Clark backs out. Oh, he's in deep. He's in way too deep in turn 3.
He's really trying to get that lap led. He's going to slide. Race Clark's also going to slide. Here comes Chuck Sweeting out of nowhere with maybe 4 fresh tires. Fisher wants that lap led. He's going to get it. That's a big advantage above that 54, but here comes the 26 back for the race lead. This is huge for the 98.
Great stuff. Big drive for the 98 car. He managed to grab that spot away when it mattered most, but the 26 is there to the bottom. The 52 now. The 22 has lost control of this race. He's going to drive down to 4th now. The 26 and 98 side by side for the lead. Monte Carlo's into turn 3.
And this might really work for Jeffrey Fisher. If he can keep this track position, even if Grunberg gets by him, it'll still be close, I would think. It all comes down to if the 54 gets the race win. Oh, Brett Miller's around. He's going to hit the barrels. No, he hits the wall. Able to save it. We stay green.
He gets back rolling, albeit at a slow pace. The 26 drives to the bottom to try to get a run on the 98 for the top spot. Fisher out front came in as the points leader by 3 points, but his teammate Matt Grunberg in the 54 has been the dominant force tonight. He rides in 4th right now, and he's going to approach for 3rd if he can get by the 52 just up the road.
I know this is going to sound crazy, but I think the best thing Jeffrey Fisher can do right now is give Chuck Sweeting the lead. Sweeting had the best pace to stay with that 54. If he can get the track position advantage over Grunberg, maybe he can win this race. I think Fisher's got his bonus point. He's not going to get most laps led. I think the best thing he can do is let the 26 take the lead and maybe run 2nd to him to keep that 54 from winning, because get those 3 bonus points for that race win. I think he's got to give it up.
Or the other thought,
thinking about that.
Or the other thought is you stay out front, you try to keep the 26 behind you, and the 26 and 54 fight amongst themselves while they worry about catching up to you. That could be a legitimate strategy as well, but does he have the pace to do that? He's only got, 2 tires? I'm not sure that that's a great strategy to pull.
I don't think so either. I think, like I was just saying, if you let that 26 get a bit of a gap on you, try to hold up that 54, you might have a shot of kind of finagling your way into a championship here. It's kind of odd, kind of dodgy to try something like that, but I don't think he's going to beat the 54 on raw pace. I don't know if he can hold him off for about 45 more laps.
Not going to happen. Look at the 26 to the bottom again. 54 sizing him up from 3rd. Here he comes. 26 to the bottom, 98 up top. Grunberg behind, trying to pick a line.
And we talked about it as well, how bad the 98 wore his tires out on that first run. Who says that's not going to happen again? Maybe he didn't learn from those mistakes, and this is everything he's got. Look at the 52 sliding into turn 4. He's going to lose touch with these top 3s. The 54 is there hunting for a championship.
It's a coveted trophy to win the final season of the 3-Wide Racing League. Matt Grunberg has won championships in the past. Chuck Sweeting has won races in the past. He'd sure like to go back to victory lane. Slides up in front of the 98 in turn 2. Middle, 3 wide goes Fisher. Here comes Grunberg on the bottom. 3 wide for the top spot. He backs out.
I think he knows what he needs to do. I think he's aware of the situation. Just wait for the 98 to make a mistake, and you'll make it work. You'll have that championship. He's going to slide almost up into Chuck Sweeting. Now they're still going to be side by side. Maybe this is where Grunberg might make that 3-wide move, but he's going to be very cautious.
Running out of laps, 24 minutes of racing remaining. Grunberg, where does he go? Through the middle maybe? He's not getting super aggressive with it. Sweeting bobbles on the outside. Fisher is going to try to come up and clear him. He
Well,
will.
Justin Kolb's around. He's going to spin it out of turn number 2, heading towards that inside wall. He's actually going to miss it. A good save there. Meanwhile, the 98 blocks the bottom from the 54. It's the 26 into the wall into turn 3.
That's going to hurt the 26 car quite a bit. Can he throttle back up and try to take this lead back at corner exit? Big slide for him out of turn 4. Side by side with the 54 now across the line. Fisher leads as they hit lap 92.
Chuck Sweeting just let the 54 by. I think he realizes that's for the championship. He's going to let them battle it out between themselves here. The 98's going to give it everything he's got. I think this is a last-ditch effort. This is all he's got. If the 54 passes him, it's championship over. If the 98 can hold him off, he's the champion. So this is going to go down to the wire if he can hold him off.
Teammates? Absolutely not. They may have the same team sticker on the side of their car, the same number font on the door, but there is absolutely nothing. That means these drivers will work together in any way the last 40 laps of this race. They're going to beat and bang to the very end. 54-98.
Race Clark, out of all that, he's still 4th on no tires right now. Top 5 are pretty much gone. Sam Close at 5th. It's a scram for that 6th position right now, all over each other. 54's got the run to the bottom. This is going to be Jeffrey Fisher's worst nightmare.
Are they burning up tires too much? Or are drivers behind them saving and planning a run to the end? Next time by will be 40 laps to go, and they are driving extraordinarily hard right now, wearing out that rubber. And that might not be a great long-term plan, so I'm sure Grumberg would like to complete this pass and then go into tire-saving mode as he goes through to the race lead.
Look at the 98. He's going to race him as hard as he can. He knows this is for the championship. He's actually going to get back in line with the 54. Thought he might move him there. I don't know if he's going to be able to hang with his teammate.
Matt Grumberg had a lead of over 9.5 seconds before the caution at lap number 72. He's got 40 laps to extend it as far as he can.
Boy. 52 had another slide out of turn 2 as the 54 pulls away still.
Now James Miller in the 09. Think about his season. 7 wins this year. And he is not in a position to win this championship. That is going to be a heartbreak. He's going to squeeze up to the outside of the 52. That was dicey.
The 52's driving angry right now. He sees all that damage on his car. He knows who did it. It's the guy right behind him, Drew Eisman, who made that damage up. Drew Eisman's still doing all right now. He's actually the first car a lap down, so he's just fighting to stay in a lucky dog position over Brady Smith. I wonder if the 52 remembered what happened as there's a big squeeze out of 2. Nick Boyd gets sideways in front of Skylar Nissel. 3 wide.
Nick Boyd charges on through. Remember, he is also a chase competitor, but really hasn't had the consistency and the speed to run up at the front during this playoffs sequence, and he's battling amongst Nissel, Hines, Boyd, and Moore down the front straightaway here.
Kolb trying to get back after those 2 slides, trying to get back up close to the top 5, slides into turn 1 again. James Miller, he is not, I think that's been the killer for James Miller's race. He's been on the top line all race. He's not been able to make that bottom line work, and I think that's killed him.
Great scramble back here. The 74 comes down to block the 27. Cogswell jumps on the binders for a moment, lets the 74 back in line, but that is not a courtesy that will be extended very much further tonight.
I think the 50, I think Grumberg, I think he sees all that back there. He's just hoping they somehow sort it out like they did on the first run of this race, because I don't think anyone's going to touch him except maybe Chuck Sweeting. I think the only thing that can help the 98 out right now is if he lets that 26 go up there. He knows that he has the speed to run with Grumberg. Maybe if he can beat him, if the 54 finished second, maybe the 98 found a way to get third. That would give the 98 the championship. So I think he's got to let the 26 go loose or something here.
0.6 of a second separating Grumberg from Fisher. That gap is growing by about 1/10 a lap. Look at this, the 09 and the 77. Remember that Drew Eisenman is a lap down with crash damage from earlier. The 09 car was the other vehicle involved in that. Looks like no hard feelings. They're going to carry on and continue.
Well, no hard feelings yet.
I'm sure there was a lot different feelings maybe in the moment. We'll see if they what's the word I'm looking for? Refire after the race.
Rekindle?
Rekindle, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine James Miller would be happy about a lap-down car racing him, but 77 needs to get everything he can to make sure he is that lucky dog, maybe even unlap himself the hard way. I can't believe the 09, he hasn't moved down to that bottom lane. He's committed to that top lane, but there's just no speed up there.
Closing in on lap number 100, Matt Grumberg tonight has led 70 laps of the 99 that we've completed, and he has now led the most laps tonight, which again closes that gap to Fisher, and being in front of Fisher Bonus points for leading the race at the end. Of course, the race win will launch him in front of Fisher, but Fisher's doing everything he can do. But here comes Chuck Sweeting. This is the car I was worried about. Kind of hanging out back here, waiting in the wings for those tires to wear out.
Like I said, he might just have to let him go. He's just holding up the 26. That's not good news for him because the only thing that's going to save him is getting that 26 the race win. So he just did say over the radio to let the 26 go low. So he's going to give Chuck Sweeting the run for the race lead here in these last 33 laps.
Well, it makes sense to me. If you let Chuck Sweeting go, he can go up there and battle Matt Gruenberg and maybe, just maybe, create a situation in which Matt Gruenberg wears out his tires or even blows a tire and gives Fisher the opportunity. However, we've pit enough times, Connor. I don't think blowing tires is going to be a problem. The run is not going to be long enough to wear those things down to the courts.
I don't think so at all. But like we said, this run's going to go about 50-plus laps to the end if this does go green. 98 bounces off the apron there. And we see, I keep saying over and over again, I don't mean to repeat myself, but Fisher couldn't go 45 laps even on one set of tires. So he's in danger. He only took 2 tires last time by. He might not even be able to make it to the very end. So he's going to probably need another yellow to have any chance of racing his teammate for that championship because he can see that championship driving away from him right now.
Skylar Nissel, after the trials and tribulations that he's had tonight, working over 7th place James Miller. And Miller just did not have the pace tonight. He has had unbelievable pace.
Oh, he's in the wall.
Oh,
Yep.
he's going to spin.
And he's going to hit the wall. Nowhere for Richard. Did Hines get by him? I think he did, but that's just going to put insult to injury for him. What an upset that it's got to be for him to not be able to close this thing out. 7 wins we were talking about earlier in the season. It's just not to be.
Yeah, just drove in too hot into turn 1, got the tail end turned around.
Man, we've seen that a few times before. That you hit that wall and it just slaps you back down the track.
Yeah, and unfortunately for James Miller, that will likely be the end of any chance he had at running up at the front. So now everyone will come on down, I assume, and make a pit stop, and this sort of throws the benefit back towards Jeffrey Fisher. Again, short runs. He seems like he's very capable of staying out front. Maybe 2-tire call again.
I don't know if he can do 2 tires again because now the 54 is up there. I think Gruenberg's going to also do 2 tires to keep that track position. One thing to note here, I believe Drew Eisman is going to get the lucky dog, so definitely an outside shot for him, but he's going to have at least one more shot at maybe getting back up to the front.
The field lined up nose to tail. We are at 30 laps to go this time by, which is about 15 minutes worth of racing once we go back green. And everyone's coming on down for tires and fuel.
I just don't think you're going to get Gruenberg caught out on strategy again. I think he does take 2 tires. And if he doesn't, maybe he does take 4 tires. Maybe Chuck Sweeting will be the one to take 2 tires and get that race lead. And that would be big for the 98 to get that 26 into the race lead.
What I expect to be our final pit stop here in the 3-Wide Racing League Series, as the series is shutting down indefinitely after this evening. And they will not be back on SimTV in 2021. Jeffrey Fisher leaves pit lane. That was another 2-tire call. I like it, Connor. I like the track position play. We'll see if he can hang on to it.
It's really all he's got left. He's going to get the track position. He's got Race Clark to help him with that. So Race Clark's going to be second, I believe. Yes, he is. And we're going to get Gruenberg easily out 3rd. Sam Close actually got out 4th. Hines 5th. Chuck Sweeting fell all the way to 6th. He must have missed his stall. That's a huge mistake for the 26th, and that is not good for Jeffrey Fisher.
Fisher wants the 26 to be competitive, to stay up in front with the 54 and battle him. They're the closest on pace. So if the 26 is gone, that leaves the 54's sole focus out up front. Actually, Gruenberg's going to line up right behind his teammate for the restart, which is not advantageous to Race Clark or Jeffrey Fisher because I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of working together going on.
Yeah, Race Clark's racing for himself. He needs a miracle to happen. If anything, he needs all these guys to wreck. He's not going to cause a wreck, obviously, but that's really his only shot at the championship still. This is a last-ditch effort for the 22 for sure. Also, same for the 98. This is really all these two have got when it comes to the championship race. We're
going to step away for just a moment. We'll be back with you for the restart here. One final time from Homestead. We'll be right back. Lap 106 of 133 for the final race of the 3WideRacing League on Sim TV. Homestead Miami Speedway, the season finale. Jeffrey Fisher came in the points leader with 2 wins, most recently at Phoenix a week ago. Race Clark won at Talladega a few weeks back, then had a disastrous internet failure at Phoenix. Is now back on the front row for the restart. Matt Grunberg came in second in the standings and has been the dominant force all night long. Other drivers behind that were in it earlier and are no longer in it. Drew Eisenman in the 77 and the 09 Miller at the tail of the field. 7 wins on the season. He will not get an 8th. Green flag back in the air from Homestead. The field scatters on the restart. Fisher takes off.
Sam Close giving Chuck Sweeting the bottom. Race Clark's going to chop the 54. That's Jeffrey Fisher's teammate right now. It's not the 54. His teammate's Race Clark, but also Race Clark wants that win as well. He's going to do everything he can to have any sort of shot at the championship. He's going to go for the lead right here. 98's going to give him the top. There's almost going to be contact.
He tried to block it. He couldn't do it. Clark to the outside. Look at the 54. Sees the hole open up on the bottom. He's going to dive in there in turn number 3, but does he have the run? Race Clark will carry the speed. Big slide for him out of turn 4. Now the 98 will come up and cover that spot, but he can't do it. The 22 is going to squeeze up the outside. Now give him a huge shove down the front straight. Now look to the bottom.
He wanted to go to the bottom, but the 98 blocked it pretty well. He's going to drive hard in the turn 1. The 22 is going to have to run on the bottom. I think the 54 senses something bad happening here. He wants to lay back and let them race, but he's got Chuck Sweeting coming up to his rear bumper. He has no time to waste.
Down the back straightaway now, lap 108 of 133. We're ticking him down. 15 minutes of racing left. Fisher, Clark, Gruenberg, Sweeting. Sam Close your top 5. Close has found his way up to the front. Fisher hanging on with 2 tires. Big bobble out of turn 4.
He almost lost his championship hopes right then and there. Alex Boyd on the apron out of 4. The 22 is going to have to run. He's going to get to the bottom this time while the 54 watches. He also goes to the bottom.
Fisher needs to carry the momentum, but he understeers big time in turn 1. That might have been it. Race Clark goes to the race lead. 54 to the bottom of the racetrack. Now the teammates side by side came in 3 points apart in the championship. Now they're neck and neck on the racetrack. The 98 comes across the racetrack and dives into turn 3. What a move!
It's going to work. Race Clark too far up. The 50. Oh, the 20. Race Clark's going to spin. He's able to save it, but he's going to lose all his track position. Let the 54 and Chuck Sweeting by there. So now this is all Jeffrey Fisher has. How hard is he going to block his teammate?
54 now right behind him as they come into turn number 1. I don't think Fisher has the pace, but he might have the racecraft to do it. The 54 is right there on the quarter panel as they come through turn 2. A bit of a touch.
I think he's got to try backing up his teammate Gruenberg to the 26, but I don't think he has the opportunity. Gruenberg's got the line he wants, and I think that's going to be all she wrote unless he could really pinch him hard, maybe even hit him a little bit.
He's going to try side by side through 3 and 4. 13 minutes of racing remaining. He's sideways as they come out of turn 4, but the momentum on the front straight, he might have enough to draft.
Oh. That's how hard side drafting is. He got all the way to the 54 side to try to do it there. He sends it into turn 1. He's not able to teammate too far up the track. Matt Gruenberg to the race lead. Yeah, too much speed, not enough cornering. And Fisher drops to 3rd, maybe even 4th as Race Clark charges back. Now Chuck Sweeting, can he upset this whole battle? He's not in the championship fight. He just wants a trophy. Really all the 98 has left. He needs to get this position from Race Clark too to have a chance even if the 54 doesn't win. He needs to get in front of Race Clark. Because Chuck Sweeting getting to the lead won't matter if he can't do that. Got a car sideways at a turn 4, and it's James Miller who's still struggling. Fisher back to the bottom of the 22 into turn 1. He wants that 3rd place back. He's going to get it with a big dive. Tire marks left in his wake. And Sweeting is there for the top spot, but he's not quite able to get alongside. The wall is going to slide right in front of Sam. Close. I'm just going to put Close onto the apron there. Meanwhile, the 26 following Gruenberg into turn 3. That was close. Gathers it back up. Nick Boyd into the picture now as well. Whoa! Sideways. He's going to get way sideways. Chuck Sweeting's going to dive low for the race lead. My goodness, a rare mistake from the 54. Side by side, the 26 pulls even into turn number 1. All the 98 has, and 98's found some speed. He's able to get back up to the 54 right now. Can the 26 clear Gruenberg? Not quite. Jeffrey Fisher is rooting with every bone in his body for that 26 car to clear the 54 just to impose some sort of blockage on the success that 54 car has had here tonight. To the bottom of the racetrack through 3 and 4. 20 laps to go this time by from Homestead. 35 miles. Can Gruenberg get it done, or will it be Fisher storming back to the front, right to the rear bumper with the 26 again in turn 1? going to hit him. He's got to let him race here. He's getting too close to his rear bumper, getting him sideways. He's going to get the run on the 26 right now. Miller's still sliding in the background, still able to save it. 26 still in hot pursuit.
Grunberg was hanging that rear end sideways out as well. I don't think he's very comfortable in the 54. Does not have the rear grip he needs to drive away like he did before, so he's only going to have a couple car lengths of an advantage on the front straightaway. Sweeting going to draft right back up to the rear tailpipes again.
Right now, Grunberg has that the 3-point advantage. If I had to guess, I think that's my greatest guess. He's got a 3-point advantage on the 98 of Jeffrey Fisher right now. Drew Eisman's still giving it his all. He's battling with Justin Kolb right now. Those two have history from earlier in the race. 77's giving it everything he's got.
Sweeting losing some ground here. 3 car lengths, now 4. And Jeffrey Fisher just does not have the front end to compete with the 54 car right now. Just not enough tire on that machine. He took that short-term gain, long-term loss, the right side tires on that vehicle. And while it got him the lead for a moment, Connor, it's not going to be enough to win the race.
Only hope is Chuck Sweeting wins this race. If he can stay in third and Chuck Sweeting can get that lead away from Grunberg in the dying stages, I think that would be enough for Jeffrey Fisher to win this championship. But you're right, he does not have the car nor the tires to battle with those two right now. It is all in the hands of Chuck Sweeting.
Think about the seasons that have been had by these 3 Team AV teammates, Matt Grunberg, Jeffrey Fisher, and James Miller. Miller won 7 races. Grunberg, I believe, has won 5. Make that 4 wins on the season. And Jeffrey Fisher's won 2. Yet the driver with the most wins of that trio is not even in the competition anymore. He's buried in 15th place. The front 2, Fisher and Grunberg, they came in with the 2-win driver leading the points and the 4-win driver being in second. And as it stands, it looks like Grunberg is going to be the one to hang on to this if things end as they are. And we've seen tonight that we can't guarantee that that's going to be how it happens.
Right now he's got the 1 extra bonus point over the 98, and then he's 2 places ahead of him, which ties them, and then the race win would be the decider in that, putting Grunberg in that 3-point victory. And then those 3 points get wiped away, and also the point going back to second, that would give the 98 a 1-point victory for the championship. But that would be if Chuck Sweeting can find the speed to get by that 54 machine.
So really all Jeffrey Fisher needs is for the 26 car to win this race and not the 54. That's possible, but Grunberg's just so good. You see a little bit of a mistake there, but he's still pulling away. It's only by a couple hundredths of a second a lap. We did see Sweeting start to reel in Grunberg at the end of a 60-lap run, but we don't have time for that, Connor. The Grunberg machine was the fastest car in the middle length run, and that's where we're at right now.
54 has been so strong. The 26 enters a bit middle and turns to that white line to get off of turns 2 and 4, and it's just not working. He's not even carrying enough speed, not able to stay close enough to the 54 right now. I think it's going to come down. I don't know if we're going to really go green, specifically because Drew Eisman and Justin Kolb are still right next to each other, and anything's going to be. I think stuff's going to happen. They've been chirping on the radio, but if this goes green, I just don't see Grunberg getting caught.
15 laps to go, make it 14. The last 14 laps of the 3WideRacing League. Started on consoles a decade ago and has transitioned to the iRacing platform. Has been on Sim TV since the start, 2018. I believe March was the first ever race we had. It was NASCAR Trucks at Bathurst. That was a long time ago. I believe it was Cameron Rich that won that race. Cameron has made some guest appearances here this season. We haven't seen him in a while, but the guys we have seen this year are here tonight, and they are battling for a championship with 13 laps to go now. It's coming down to the wire. Grunberg's won pretty much everything under the sun under this league, and it would be very fitting for him to wrap up the final championship here, but still a possibility for an upset.
Yeah, it's still all in the cards right now. Next time by, I believe, is going to be 12 laps to go, and anything can happen in those 12 laps, especially when Justin Kolb and Drew Eisman are dooring each other, and the 52 is getting turned down the backstretch.
Caution with 13 laps to go. Drama as the 52 goes around in turn 3.
Wow.
The cars just squeeze by on the outside.
We saw that coming.
Wow.
I think we both saw that coming. They were dooring each other. That was for, I think, the 8th position. And I saw that coming from a mile away. They were chirping left and right the past 5 laps. Eisman going for the bottom. He's going to come up the track and pretty much door the 52, and I think the 52 goes back at him and it backfires. I don't know, maybe 7-7 came up, but definitely some dirty driving going on between those two tonight.
They are not going to agree on why that happened or how it happened. But all we can tell you is that it happened. Here's another look at it. They door slammed down the back straightaway. And we'll let everyone else be the judge. Not our place, not our time, but I can tell you what, Jeffrey Fisher is clinging on to hope here.
Yeah, that's really what he needed. I saw that coming, and it was just obvious. I don't know if he can do 2 tires again, though. I think the best thing he can do is
take 4.
I mean, I think you got to take 4. You got to get on even tires. This is the closest you've been to him, closest you're going to get to being with him on even tires, and you're all right on a short run. He had speed on a short run. This is going to be his forte here. Going to restart with about 10 laps to go. This is everything he's got. I'm wondering if guys like Race Clark or Drew Eisman might take 2 tires, even though Eisman was in that wreck. He could still win this championship with a bit of luck.
Skylar Nissel picked up a passenger on that Monte Carlo. They can get rid of that thing before it becomes an issue for him.
No one's staying out, obviously. That was never going to be an option. Still looking for 2 tires, and Gruenberg took 2 tires to match the 98 of Fisher. And that drives me crazy. I think that was the perfect opportunity to go with 4 tires. You would have gotten the tire advantage on your teammate, but now I don't know if it's going to be possible because Chuck Sweeting himself 4 tires.
I don't know if I'm not sure that even with 4 tires that the 98's a better car right now. We haven't seen the drop-off or the fall-off be really significant. I think the 54 is the faster race car tonight. I think that where the 98 has been outrunning Matt Gruenberg is the racecraft. He's been more aggressive on the restarts. He's been willing to take chances that Matt Gruenberg will not take. Gruenberg typically runs in a bubble of safety where he will not make a move if he feels like it's going to potentially cause harm to him or another competitor, where Fisher's been throwing the Hail Mary at it tonight, everything but the kitchen sink, and it has worked in the short term, but he just does not have the pace in the long term to keep up with the 54. I don't think 4 tires or 2 tires or no tires would make a difference, but I know now that they're going to be starting dead even with each other on the same row, and anything goes here with 10 laps to go.
Gruenberg's good on a restart. I expect them to get clear for the lead, and I really think Chuck Sweeting was the only driver who could challenge that 54, and he took 4 tires, and he's going to be restarting 6th. I just think, in my opinion, Fisher had a better opportunity to take 4 tires there. He would have had the tire advantage on Gruenberg, and he still would have had decent track position, and he could have just let Chuck Sweeting get through the 3 other drivers who would have been the only ones else on 2 tires there. I just think it was a mishap in strategy, but it's really not up to us to decipher what strategies work and whatnot.
Well, while we have a brief moment here, a reminder for those that have just joined us for 3WideRacing League Nights. This is the final race of the 3WideRacing League on SimTV, as the 3WideRacing League will be ceasing operations indefinitely for 2021 and beyond. If you'd like to stick around and potentially see some of these drivers continue, I imagine that we'll see most of these drivers stay in the SimTV community, whether it's with the Outsider Racing League or the Fuel Racing League. Those will be the only 2 stock car leagues on SimTV for 2021 and beyond. So you might see some familiar names and familiar faces. If you have not yet subscribed, the red button, make sure you hit that to join us. And our 2021 season will begin with an all-new look on SimTV beginning on January 5th of next year. And we'll be changing quite a bit about SimTV, both the look and the feel and the sound, and it will all be a generational improvement like you've never seen before from us. And I'm very, very excited to bring on Tom O'Gorman, who is a 4-time winner in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge and a 2-time winner in TC America, championship winner. He will be joining us full-time as an announcer for all of our road-based series as well as the Indy Elite Series for 2021. So really excited to have him on board, but a lot of great changes coming next year. Make sure that you don't miss it. Hit the subscribe button and join us if you have not already done so. If you have, if you're a 3Wide competitor in the past, present, or maybe even the future, make sure that you stick around, because if they return, they will be coming right home here to SimTV. Doubled up here for what could be the final restart. Connor, do we go green to the end, or is there another yellow waiting for us?
We're going to see one of these championship contenders into the wall potentially, and I think I know who it's going to be, but we still don't know. We got 8 laps to decide it. I think the biggest threat to Gruenberg is pretty much out of it unless something drastic happens. This is all up to Jeffrey Fisher to get a good restart, get alongside the 54, maybe side draft him, and if you can clear him, you're going to have to block like hell.
Doubled up, teammates one-on-one. They came in 3 points separated, but Gruenberg has been the dominant one. The points end up being a wash. It's basically who beats who as we come to the green. Green flag flies, 8 laps to go from Homestead Miami Speedway. 8 laps left in the 3WideRacing League. Big block for the 98 down into turn 1. Race Clark is there. He turns him.
It's going to slide. Yellow not out yet. Up the track. Everyone's going to avoid it, but that's the championship up in smoke for him. I can't imagine he's too happy about that.
Caution is out again. And Jeffrey Fisher turned on the restart. go back and have a look at it.
Flashbacks to 2016 with Carl Edwards and Joey Logano. He saw he was clear. He tried to get back down, and he went back up, actually. That looked like a bit of netcode. 22 was there, and 98 just kind of, took the room that he didn't have.
Now I want to look again at it, maybe from a slightly different angle, and see if we can see anything different. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not. I don't want to make enemies tonight. This is the last race for this series, so I'm going to hold my tongue on my personal thought on this. But again. Yeah,
I think what happened is that right when the 98 went up, they shifted. And when you shift, you get a bit of a jolt in power there. And you see the 22, he shoots to the bottom of the 98 out of nowhere. And I think the 98 wasn't looking for that and chopped him, thinking he was still clear when Race Clark shifted into fourth and he was able to get back to the left rear. And by that time, the 98 was already coming down.
Great heads up on everyone to miss that accident. That could have been a whole lot worse than it was. Jeffrey Fisher will be down in 16th place. Here's what Jeffrey Fisher should do. Is he should come down pit road, get 4 tires, and head back out there and drive like hell for the last 5 laps of this race and just see what happens. Because Race Clark, don't forget, he's in the championship too. If the 54 has an accident, Race Clark is the champion of this. So there's still a possibility for Race Clark to win this, and therefore he's going to race as hard as the 98 was going to race. So if I'm Jeffrey Fisher, I'm in a position now where I got nothing to lose. Come get tires, charge the restart, and hope you get somewhere.
I don't know why he didn't pit that time, but maybe pits weren't open, but I assume they were. He should definitely come down to get 4 tires. No reason not to. And we were talking about Race Clark. He still has a shot at this. Pretty much every domino he needed to fall has just about fallen. The last piece of the puzzle he needs is the 54 to somehow to get an incident. So we'll have to see what happens. He's not going to hit him, that's for sure. He's going to try to race him hard and hope something happens. But the best thing Race Clark can do is just drive like hell and go for the win.
So riddle me this here. We've got 5 laps left in the season, 5 laps left in this racing league that has existed for many years. If you're Race Clark, you are a quarter panel away from winning a championship. There's no penalties to assign. There's no nothing after this. Why not just go for it? I mean, there's got to be a respect part in there. But Connor, I mean, how important is this? Is someone willing to just wreck somebody for this championship?
It's weird because in NASCAR, we haven't seen anyone wreck someone for a championship, but we saw someone wreck someone to get into that championship race. Remember Newman absolutely walling Kyle Larson. It's funny how that works. We saw Joey Logano bump Truex up the track to get to the finale race, but we haven't seen anything like that happen in that main championship race. And like you're saying, these really, all bets are off. This is it. This is the last one you're going to pretty much ever do in 3 wide. And Race Clark's an aggressive driver. We know he'll do anything to win. You saw what happened at Talladega. But the respect that these drivers have for each other, I just don't think you're going to see anything like that happen. He would need the 54 to wreck hard, and I don't think he wants to wreck him hard. If anything, he just wants to bump him up the racetrack. So it's just too much respect between the drivers. If it was Drew Eisman, if Drew Eisman had to wreck Justin Kolb for that championship, maybe we'd see that because we've seen them get into it tonight. But these two, I think, have respect for each other. I don't expect to see anything crazy.
Well, let's remember our green-white checkered situation. We will have 1 attempt at a green-white checkered. So if the caution comes out after this restart, we will get 1 opportunity at overtime. We will extend the race so that we get 2 laps to go on the restart. And then at that point, it's checkers or wreckers. It's yellow flag ends the race, or the checkered flag will under green flag conditions. If we get to the white flag, you're coming back under speed, whether you're upside down on your roof, or, grinding across the pit wall, or on all 4 tires in first. That has yet to be seen, but we've only seen that really come into play a couple times this season. With 1 to go, we will have 3 laps to go. This will not be an overtime situation, so we will get 1 attempt again at a green-white checkered if we do not get this race back to the white flag under green flag conditions.
I guess Jeffrey Fish is kind of accepting defeat, but you should never accept defeat in a race. He never came down to get fresh tires. I don't understand that at all, but I guess he's figuring he might as well just not do anything.
Might not have tires, so if we have tire limits.
I know. Yeah, you don't have tire limits. You got nothing to worry about. You can still win this championship. Anything can happen. I don't understand giving up like that. I wouldn't do that. You always give up. Remember that VRL race? I dumped myself while they were cutting. I came from like 10 laps down. I almost got there. I think I only lost by about 4 points. It can happen. Anything and everything has happened and will happen in racing. I don't understand why you just wouldn't take the tires. You don't lose positions from doing it. Might as well just take the risk and hope something happens. I just don't understand it.
Well, we're going to have 3 laps to figure it out. All on the line. 3 laps at Homestead Miami Speedway. The lap is 1.5 miles. So we have 4.5 miles of racing left at Homestead, and in the 3-Wide Racing League, the pace truck's going to peel off. Matt Gruenberg is 3 laps away from picking up another 3-Wide Racing League championship. Race Clark, the underdog, trying to get it done. Here we go. Green flag, 3 laps to go from Homestead.
We didn't even talk about Skylar Nissel. He's all the way up to 3rd. He was involved in the first incident of the night, and he's up there trying to finish strong with a top 3, top 5 run. Look at the launch that 54 got.
Great restart for the 54. He drives out up front. Can we get back to the white flag 2 laps from now without a caution flag? Here comes the 74. He's going to go 3 wide into turn 3 underneath Skylar Nissel on the 5 of Sam Close.
It's 4 wide in the background with the 98 and the 77 back there. It is going crazy back there. Nissel diving. He's going to spin out of turn number 4. He's able to save it because of that apron, though. He's going to lose all those positions he had. Look at Sam Close going for that position.
This isn't going to work well. 4 wide. Going to get really dicey into turn 1. No, there they go.
Sweeting. Boyd's around. Everyone's wrecking here.
Oh.
Huge. Everyone's going to get crashed. Alex Boyd upside down.
Tumbling end over end, side over side. Alex Boyd on his roof. And the caution is out with 3 laps to go, and we are in overtime here on Sim TV.
Oh, sorry, because the Skylar Nissel getting stacked up all over there. They were 3. Skylar Nissel was so slow there, but he stayed in the middle of the track. That really contributed to all that. Jeffrey Fisher, Michael Goodman. There was 3 wrecks at once. I don't even know where to begin, other than with the 10 tumbling end over end.
Well, let's go back and look from the sky. I think this is going to be our best angle of it. The 11 of Skylar Nissel got loose here, backed up everybody.
Come up into the middle of the track. These guys got nowhere to go. Alex Boyd, there he is, trying to avoid him. Split him with Jeffrey Fisher 4 wide, and the wreck starts to happen. Nick Boyd spins there. That was unrelated. And the 52 of Justin Cole put Nissel into a wall, and Boyd was in front of all that action.
Wow, look at Boyd tumble end over end. That was really the highlight of that accident, was the massive impact that the 10 car took. Watch this. We got to go back a little bit farther.
Went on top of Nick Boyd there, who spun out in front of him. Is that who he hit? No, he hit Cogswell. And Kolb sent him over.
That is unbelievable. Watch this impact straight into the outside barrier. Gets tipped over by the 52. Up onto his roof. Lands on the 74 upside down and backwards. Fire shooting out the side of the car, then begins the tumble.
And it ain't going to stop.
That's a breathtaking accident for Alex Boyd. That will be the end of his day, as well as a few other drivers, Nissel included. I'm sure we're going to get a great angle and great perspective of someone who is at the back of this pack. Let's maybe right on board with Drew Eisenman, who I think was following most of this.
Split them out of nowhere, and he sees everything happening. He has nowhere to go. He sees cars slide left and right. Michael Goodman puts Brady Smith in the ball. Smith spins up the track. He's just stopping. Then there goes the 11, and there goes the 10 up and over.
That was pretty spectacular, to say the least.
Actually, big for Eisenman. He's going to get positions out of that. He still might have an outside shot at this.
Well, the other thing that the other driver that benefits is Race Clark. He did not get a very good restart. He'll get another chance at Matt Gruenberg here.
And so will Chuck Sweeting, who's now going to be restarting 3rd. On fresher tires as well.
We are hearing that certain driver's significant other will get ice cream if the championship is won here tonight. So there's a lot on the line for Matt Gruenberg.
Oh.
And he hasn't lost a lot.
That puts even more pressure on Race Clark to not hit him.
Matt Gruenberg, I don't think, has been in a championship scenario where he has not come out on top. So he is looking pretty good right now. And Race Clark, I just don't think Clark has the pace that the 54 does. It all comes down to the restart. And now, it's not going to be 3 laps to go, it's 2 laps to go now. So on the restart, if you can get out ahead of that 54, you could win this championship. It's still going to take the 54 getting kind of knocked out of position. There's nobody left that is close enough to just point their way ahead of the 54 unless the 54 has an accident. The only other scenario is that Jeffrey Fisher comes from 7th all the way up to 2nd and or 3rd, and Matt Gruenberg does not win this race. That's the only scenario in which this works. But it's looking pretty good for the 54 regardless.
Yeah, we didn't even note that. The 98 got through all that, all the way up to the 7th position. That's what I was talking about. You take those fresh tires, and you're in a better position than a lot of other drivers around you. It just blows my mind. I'm trying not to say too much about it, but you got to take tires there, in my opinion. But either way, he's still got a shot at this because You know, Race Clark, he's got a shot at this win. He's aggressive. Chuck Sweeting's been able to match the 54, has been able to battle him on a short run. If the 98 can get some positions here and there on this restart, it's not over yet.
Well, we're going to have 2 laps to go here in just a moment. We're heading into our final pace lap for the night. Again, once we go green, we will end this race, whether it's under caution or under green flag conditions. If we get another yellow, the race will be over. If we get to the white flag, the race will end under green flag conditions, and it's just a race back to the checkers. We've seen a couple of these races get to the white flag and then turn into chaos, which I think is a high possibility.
And that chaos could put the 98 in a championship situation. Interestingly enough, Grunberg, this is the only time he's taken the outside. I think he's trying to make sure Chuck Sweeting has no chance to get the second.
Well, my concern with taking the outside is Race Clark has a really fast car behind him, and that of Chuck Sweeting in the number 26. If Chuck can give the 22 a big push and Clark can slide up underneath the 54, that could totally change the landscape and outcome of this race and potentially the championship. Remember that the seventh place car of Jeffrey Fisher is in position where he could gain a whole bunch of spots if things turn messy. It's not over till it's over.
Yeah, this is going to be wild. I don't think you said Race Clark he's going to be fast on that bottom, no doubt. But if Grunberg gets a good restart, he's just going to be able to chop low to that bottom, and Clark's going to have nothing. And it's going to keep Chuck Sweeting back there third in line on the bottom unless Sweeting gets an amazing restart.
This time by is 2 laps to go. It's checkers or wreckers. If the yellow comes out, the race is over. If we get the checkers, we finish under green. Green flag in the air, 2 laps to go from Homestead, and Matt Grunberg fires off and away. And Race Clark, they're going to touch. There goes the 27. Is it over?
Close. He's into the wall. He's going to stop. Here comes someone up the racetrack in front of everyone. They're able to save it. Jeffrey Fisher hard into the outside wall, and that's the championship. Not yet. No yellow yet.
We stay green. Grunberg stays out front. Down the back straightaway, Race Clark, 10 car lengths back.
I don't think he's even in a position to wreck him right now. Chuck Sweeting trying to do everything he can behind him. Race Clark's the last man standing. He's the only one between Grunberg and a championship right now, but I just don't think he can get there.
White flag in the air. One more time around for Matt Grunberg. The crashes are over. We will make it back under green flag conditions. 1.5 miles left. Grunberg by 5 car lengths. Clark is closing. Driving the wheels off it down the back straightaway for the final time in the 3WideRacing League Series history. Matt Grunberg has won in trucks. He's won in Cup. He's won in pretty much everything they've ever done. And tonight he will add the 1987 stock car to that array. He comes out of turn number 4. Matt Grunberg is your winner and your champion for the 2020 3WideRacing League Cold Hard Art Cup Series. And he will go down as the winningest champion on Sim TV for the 3WideRacing League.
And it was in doubt, but at the same time, it was never in doubt. The fastest car by far. If he went green, he would have lapped the entire field. Had some restarts here and there where he had to, kind of clutch up there and get back to the front, and he absolutely deserved it tonight. That was unbelievable drive by him, and no one deserved it tonight more than him.
Matt Grunberg will win this championship. The driver behind him is the 09 of James Miller. Won the most races this season. Miller won 7, Grunberg won 5. But Grunberg just turned it up when he needed to, and he was there at the very end and held off several hard charges, and he will go down as the champion this season.
No one deserves to do burnouts more than him tonight. He's going to do those burnouts right, and he knows how to do them without a doubt.
It's not like he hasn't had practice.
No, yeah, without a doubt. That restart was wild as well. I think Sam Close missed a shift and caused all of that. This man right here, how about that drive? That was amazing to watch.
No, as always, a heck of a burnout. Tonight, he won this race after leading 104 laps of the 138 that we completed. 5 laps of which were overtime. Started this race in 11th and finished in 1st after leading the vast majority of it. We will talk to him and a few others here in just a few moments. And we'll finish off watching the last little bits of burnout here at the start-finish line. Your race results: Grunberg, Clark, Sweeting, Miller, and Hines. And think about Race Clark, where he would have been if it wasn't for the issues last week that dropped him out of the race. Race Clark could have been your champion, and that's what's going to be bothersome to him, is what could have, should have, would have. Would have, could have, should have, however that saying goes.
Should have, could
Shoulda,
have.
coulda, would have. Whatever combination.
I don't know anymore.
Whatever combination.
Yeah, it is really frustrating. And the worst part about it is you don't even get another season to maybe redeem yourself. This is it. This is all you had. And it really does suck. I can't say I've lost a championship like that on internet going out. That's got to be crushing to have that happen to him. And he finished second. He would have been in an amazing position to contend for this championship if that didn't happen. But the fact of the matter is he's not the champion tonight.
We'll be back in just a moment with interviews for our champion, our race winner, and the drivers who are runner-up. We'll be right back. Back live on Sim TV here now with our 13th place race finisher and championship competitor Jeffrey Fisher in the number 98 Team AV Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Jeffrey, tonight you came in as the points leader and left without the championship trophy, but you gave it everything you had until turn one with a couple laps ago. Take us through your night and the entire year battling up until that restart, and then what happened, which ended up having you down in the turn one grass there.
Yeah, I was just trying to be Carl Edwards. I don't know. The season was good. Yeah, it's just spent the whole time trying to learn the car, figure out what I can and cannot do. I don't know. I'm still trying to situate my head from that race. That was such a roller coaster. I've never experienced something like that in iRacing. Yeah, I really don't even know what to say. Like, it was a good season. Matt did good. James did really good. As a team, we did good. We worked together very well. So hopefully whatever we move on to is the same kind of results. But I just really want to thank Corey. I think this night's more about him than anything. The fact that he was able to keep all these guys together for 10 years and continue to do this. So I think he should get an interview tonight too. I don't know. I really don't know what to say. I don't know how to sum this up into words right now because my head's all bleeped up right now.
Well, Jeffrey, I think a summation of the season was a valiant effort. You did a great job with that win at Phoenix, propelling you into the championship finale as a serious contender. Did everything you could there, just didn't quite end up the right way. Congratulations. Keep your head up. That was a great way to end a season, even without the championship trophy. So we wish to see you back here on Sim TV.
Thanks, man. Thanks for broadcasting us.
Thanks, Jeffrey. Appreciate it.
Yep.
We move on now to Race Clark, just shy of a championship. What could have, should have, would have race. Second place tonight. Things might be different had Phoenix not gone the way it had, but a win at Talladega propelled you with a chance to win the championship. Didn't quite work out, but second place tonight. A good effort regardless. Almost had a win to top it off.
Yeah, it's kind of like you think about what could have been, a first place at Dega and then second here, but what if I got a top five, where would I have been? But I am grateful that I was able to run up front with fast guys like Matt and Drew, Jeff and James consistently. I felt like I was up there and challenging. I was up there at Phoenix. I was there tonight at Homestead. So I can take that away. It's exciting. I mean, there's also the fact that the league's over. So I wasn't too worried about it. It was a fun race. So there's that.
towards the end of the race, when things started getting chaotic, planning the restarts, how much could you do? How much can you do with these cars on a restart in the acceleration zones, the lines that you take? Was there a chance that you could have stolen that lead away, or was Grunberg just too fast?
Yeah, him controlling the restart's kind of hard off the bat because these things are just don't have a lot of acceleration. So they get to jump on you little, it's a whole lot by the end of the straight. And I kept taking 2 tires to stay up there. I was able to make it work at pace, but I really don't feel like I could have attacked and drove in there. But I also don't think I could have beaten Matt on pace. So the 2 tires honestly ended up working out when I noticed the left side grip was pretty good. I think I only had 85% on my lefts after like 67 laps. I was like, okay.
Well, Race, hey, congratulations. It was a strong run of the season regardless, a couple of victories for you. Hope to see you back here on SimTV in some way, shape, or form. So good luck to you, and hopefully we'll see you around.
Heck yes, Kyle. Hope to make it back, and thank you for the broadcast, and congratulations on all your success. Thank you to Corey for the show. Thank you to all my friends for watching the show, and y'all take care.
Thanks, man. We'll see you later.
See ya.
And last but certainly not least, for Matt Gruenberg, the driver of the number 54. Championships are not a strange thing for the 54. Back in the trucks, back in the Cup Series, and now here in the 87s. Matt, congratulations. This has been a phenomenal season. At times, it looked like your teammate James Miller was the one to beat, and then after Phoenix, it looked like your other teammate was the one to beat. But tonight, you were the one to beat. You didn't make it a question either. 108 laps led, or something like that, 104 laps led out of 138. Absolute dominance, which is the typical fashion you've had over the years. Take us through your night and your season and your run here at 3Wide.
Yeah, it's been a great run at 3Wide. First, I want to thank Corey for putting on the league all these years. It's really been a blast. The only regret I have is not joining earlier than what I did. I just had a blast running these races Sundays and Monday nights every week. It's a shame that it's coming to an end, but all things have to come to an end every now and again. But yeah, the season, it was a fun season. I just kind of came into the season with a have fun attitude, with the whole starting from the back and every race, and just kind of taking it where we went and taking what we got during the season. And then once these final 3 races, just kind of how the championship format plays out, you got to give it your all the last 3 races, and you don't necessarily have to give it your all earlier in the season. But yeah, we gave it our all the last 3 races. Talladega didn't work out quite how we wanted it to, but we rebounded at Phoenix, and we were able to close it out here at Homestead. I'm glad it was at Homestead tonight instead of Atlanta. I seem to have I think it's a perfect track record here at Homestead on championship races now. So.
Well, Matt, a sincere congratulations, and hopefully we'll see you around here on SimTV and other places. Sincere pleasure to watch the racecraft and the class that you've got. So congratulations, enjoy your championship, and hopefully we'll see you around.
Thank you.
And with that should wrap things up. I'd like to get a hold of the man of 3Wide to see if we can get a conversation here before we end things for not only this evening, but for the foreseeable future here. For all those that have joined us, thank you again sincerely for being with us here for the 3Wide Racing League for all the years that we've been doing it. Again, all of 2018, all of 2019, and all of 2020. Just been an absolute pleasure. And I know, Connor, it's been you're relatively new to the team, but oh, there he is. Now he's here. Corey Lindsay of 3Wide Racing League. Corey, before anything else, we want to wish you a huge thank you for being with us for all these years. And I say all these years being 3, which is the entire existence of SimTV, and truly launched something amazing here, and contributed to what I consider a launch pad into a career. And it's not lost on me walking into Indianapolis or Circuit of the Americas or Road America that it all started with a trio of people, those being Will Roberts, Andrew and Eric Mickey, and of course Corey Lindsay. So Corey, thank you so much for being a big part of this, and I want to give you a few moments to close out the 3Wide Racing League here on SimTV.
No, I don't got a speech or anything like that. I think you got to give Eric Mickey the credit of recruiting 3Wide. That was exactly how we got that deal figured out. But yeah, man, y'all came in at a time where we weren't too happy with the broadcast, and I don't know, you guys really changed it. I mean, you guys have really stepped it up over the years, and everything you do, man, you're incredible. All the time and effort and the progress you've done over these past 3 years. There's no reason why you're not doing all that cool shit you get to do now. And I'm just really thankful to have y'all. As far as the league goes, it's been such a roller coaster these past few years, but I've enjoyed doing it. I'm excited to be moving on. I don't know what I'm going to be doing exactly. It won't be as much iRacing. Honestly, I'm really pumped to try out Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's how I'm going to be spending my time. But yeah, man, I'm happy with the league. I'm super stoked to be moving on, and if we bring it back, awesome. I expect we will, but not anytime too soon. I hope everybody understands why.
Corey, everyone's got to move on with certain things at certain points in their life, and I'm sort of stuck with this for a little while. So thanks for that. But we wish you the best, and hopefully you enjoy your time off. I'm gonna have to come fly with you at some point. I appreciate your time, your effort, and your commitment to us this entire time. And it's not goodbye by any means. That this community is so much stronger than just racing on a Monday night. So we'll see you around. But thank you again.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
You too. And that is going to be the conclusion here of 3WideRacing League on SimTV. Connor, I was just getting to it, how you're relatively new to the broadcast team, but you've seen the growth of SimTV in about 2.5 years. It's attributed to the league owners specifically that I already mentioned, and 3Wide has been a big part of it, and it's finally time to sign this one off for the final time.
Yeah, it's been coming, and in a way we kind of dreaded it, but like you said, like someone said, things got to come to an end at some point, and it's the first league we've kind of closed out together, and I've had a lot of fun doing this league. These 87 cars have been a blast to watch. Every single race has been a roller coaster up and down. Doing a few races with Finian as well, it was fun to be back with him again, and this finale kind of provided a little bit of everything, a little bit of sadness, a little bit of excitement, and a lot of hard racing and action. It's been amazing to do this with you, and I'm excited to do a lot more leagues hopefully in the future with you. We'll have to wait and see, but I've had a blast so far, and I'm not slowing down just yet. It's going to be a blast, and it's been amazing to broadcast 3Wide for the races that I have with you and Finian. It's been great.
This might be the end of an era for 3Wide, but it's not the end of anything else for us here on SimTV. So if you're in the 3Wide community, make sure that you check out all the leagues that we broadcast. If you're in the Oval community, the Fuel Racing League will begin their premier Mission 22 series in January, running the NASCAR Xfinity car, and the Outsider Racing League will be continuing with us as well next year in a car TBD. I think we're still running the Cup car next year, but just keep an eye out for that. If you're into IndyCar racing, the Indy Elite Series will make a return with the Coca-Cola bottling company of Kokomo, Indiana, as well as the newly named VMAX IndyCar Series through SCARS. That will be debuting for 4 races in 2021 for their special events. Thank you again so much for joining us here on SimTV. My name is Kyle Heyer with Connor Horn. We'll see you next time. Tomorrow night, the Grid Life FCP Euro Tour takes on the Nürburgring with the GT4 cars. And then Wednesday night, the conclusion of the DC Region SCCA Virtual Racing League. They will be heading to Summit Point for a 1.2-hour enduro. We'll see you for some road racing tomorrow and Wednesday. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.